Mm-hmm. It's two people's happy birthdays today. Well, kind of. Happy birthday, Flinty. Realsies. And then, ooh, we get to experience another birthday party. Yay! Okay. Okay. Ooh. I know. Weird coincidence. But... Time continued its slow, constant march, and soon winter was upon us. Oh no! The skies were incredibly clear, hardly a cloud in sight. By all appearances, the weather was great, until the occasional gust of wind came along and chilled me to the bone. God damn it! Don't pull a Kokichi on us. Each breath came out in a puff of white, dissipating as it drifted upward. Rubbing my arms, I made my way to where I knew I would find her. Oh, are we gonna, take her to her birthday party? Has she ever once skipped a day these last 3 years? Rain or snow, sweltering heat or bitter cold. She always seems to be here when I come looking. I let out a little sigh, then called for her. I swear, you spend so much time in this graveyard, one of these days someone's gonna mistake you for a gravekeeper, or maybe a grave robber. She turned around to face me. She looked moderately annoyed, her glare piercing as ever. I could hear the soft bite of her voice before she even responded. Someone less familiar with her might perceive her mannerisms as standoffish, not unlike she had been when I first brought her here. I could clearly tell the difference. She was warming up, ever so slightly. I can understand a gravekeeper, but I take offense at the suggestion that I look like a grave robber. I'm praying for the souls who have no one to see them off. She's no longer walking on eggshells through every interaction. And her sense of self-worth seemed to have improved as well. I would even go as far to say that she could get a bit cocky at times, generally at my expense. That also meant I didn't have to tread quite so carefully around her either. Oh. I think this is a scene from his description. No warning! Shoot! I forgot to do that! Heck! Oh, I did. Never mind, I did put a warning. Oh, I didn't warn you! Heck! I'm sorry! What you missed so far was, Jacopo being like, oh man, it's been some time. I wonder what Morgana's up to. Goes to graveyard, sees Morgana. Morgana's like, bird in hell. And he's like, oh, you. And that's what happened so far. I mean, he also called her a grave robber, and she was like, how dare. And trading grievances and insults was becoming our personal kind of banter. Rather than signifying a widening rift, the increased level of abuse was a sign of how much closer we'd gotten. Oh. Honestly, I don't get it. Why do you care so much? These are souls that have no one else to pray for them. At best, they may get a bit of lip service from a priest once in a while. It's our responsibility to offer a helping hand to the sick and the poor. To pray for the abandoned souls. No, not Archua. Oh boy, here comes another sermon. What I don't get is why you need to pray for the dead at all. They're just bags of bones. I hope you enjoy an eternity in hell, blasphemer. Hey, that was uncalled for. I'm joking, obviously. You take black humor to a new level. The fact that she would even call such remarks a joke was proof enough of how far she had come. This wasn't the first time I had told her I thought the living were more important than the dead. and we still disagreed on that point. But our differences in values had caused her to push away much harder before than she did now. At least, I was pretty sure she wasn't pushing me away as much. Hey, it's that time again, Morgana. Come on, don't turn away from me. I know you can hear me. I brought ointment, so let me put it on you. It's a waste of time. You don't know that. Your arms look much better than before. It won't be long before your face starts healing too. Ointment isn't free. You're wasting your money. It's my money. I can use it however I please. So just shut up and let me do this. You're a very obnoxious man, you know? What was that? You want me to rub it in real hard, do you? Fine. Yeah, this is exactly the scene that he described, or was forced to describe, really. I have some good tea. Well, it might appear I wanted something in return for my efforts. I wasn't in it for gratitude or reward. It was more like my way of retaliating. She bad-mouthed me. I made her take my ointment. We had performed this ritual hundreds of times now, though the exact shape of the exchange slowly evolved over time. Or I would once desperately attempt to shoot down her assertions of wasting your time, and there's no point. I had come to realize that doing so only put unnecessary stress on her, so I started jabbing back instead. And for all her complaining, I was pretty sure Morgana wasn't entirely put off by my stubborn insistence. The day after the festival, when I declared my intent to keep trying to heal her face, and she responded with, "I won't stop complaining either," and I'd said, "I'll have to practice not letting it get under my skin as much then." I still remember that day quite vividly, and I hope she did as well. So while it might come off like we're genuinely fighting, in reality, I quite enjoyed our little sparring matches. She was still outwardly reticent and sulky as ever, but in a kind of charming way, now that we had established this routine. Not having to be so painfully careful with my words made things easier for me as well. Huh. What are you laughing about? Oh, nothing. Hey, don't you give me that death glare of yours. You think this is me glaring? So, I've been meaning to ask you something. And what would that be? What are you hoping to get out of repairing my face? I'm not trying to get anything, I just want you to heal up. And here I thought you were going to try and make me work at the brothel. How many times do I have to tell you? I'm not going to make you be a prostitute. What other reason could you have for wanting my face to get better? Because I want to see it. Isn't that enough? Just so we're clearer, that wasn't me hitting on you, okay? The thought never occurred to me. I hope you're prepared to be let down if I ever do heal. In fact, you had best not get your hopes up at all. The higher you let your expectations climb, the greater your disappointment will be when I turn out to be equally hideous beneath these scars. Not even I can remember what I looked like before. I'm not afraid to be disappointed. The possibility is just part of the fun. You have as much tact as a worm. No tact and a preference for ugly girls, I'm told. I'm a real winner. Ugly? It's a wonder no one throttles you in your sleep. Jacopo, please. I'll still be your friend, even if you turn out to be the ugliest girl in the city. You should be grateful. You're unbelievable. And to think I used to think you were a half-decent man. If you'd like me to go back to walking on thin ice, I can, but my gut tells me that's not what you really want. There's a difference between not sugarcoating your words and being outright rude, you realize. Yeah, you're one to talk. How is it that you haven't managed to chase off everyone in your life yet? I act like a decent guy around other people. Do my best to fit in. Then why are you such a dolt around me? Just doing my best to fit in. So you're saying this is my fault? Everyone could use a thorn or two. Makes them more exciting. You especially. Okay, that should be everything. Does it sting anywhere? Not particularly, no. Alright. Oh, also, finish up here and get back to the brothel soon. Unless you'd rather I drag you there. Why? Seriously, it's your damn birthday, that's why. And? What do you think, dimwit? Marie and the girls want to celebrate. Ah! Get back there soon, okay? I'm planning to drop by too. Oh boy, her birthday! Okay. Okay. As much as I'm loath to admit it, she can be kinda cute when she's not wishing me an eternity in hell. This is fine. Not that I'm ever letting those words leave my lips. So hey, I thought you were leaving. It's like playing out word by word, as we'd already seen in the main game, too. One day I'll show you the world. Sometimes I wonder if that's the only phrase you know. Yes, I heard you the first 100 times. I won't get my hopes up. And she thinks I don't sugarcoat my words. Get your hopes up, damn it. Anyway, I'll see you later. It's gonna be great. Everything's gonna be perfect. I had every intention of making good on that promise. I had more than enough reason to believe I could. Though admittedly, it wasn't until recently that I could say so with such confidence. It was no longer a mere slum rat's fantasy. Our ranks were getting stronger by the day. Yeah, and that's where you find out it's an AU and everything works out great. Yeah. Oh man, I wish. Oh heck. She's turning 12, I think? I think it would be funny if she turned 13 because in like bad luck. Or I guess 14 in Japan. That's not funny, actually. That's just sad. Discontent with the Lord was up, but overall so was our morale. I could feel it. The time was near. Though the biggest motivating factor lay elsewhere, is this why they came? No, I meant because like 14's an unlucky number in Japan. Heck. In something that had occurred about a month earlier. I'd yet to share that little nugget with anyone else, though. This could be the key to bringing it all together. I need to keep my head in the right place today. It's Morgana's birthday above anything else. Planning this revolution can wait another day. I was probably a bit too eager to get started. My judgment clouded by anticipation. The very thought that I could soon be someone of real significance. That excitement had probably leaked a bit into my conversation with Morgana. God damn it. If only I'd understood. Had truly grasped the extent of my own capabilities, where I should have been focusing my effort. Perhaps we could have ended up on a different path. Jacopo, why would you say this? It's not an AU. Can we go see that different path? Can we go see what could have happened? I want to see that. But it would not be until much, much later that I came to realize the error of my ways. Like, 5 years later at least. Ay, ay, ay. About time you showed up. Get in here and give us a hand, would you? I was engulfed in the scent of roasting meat as soon as I stepped through the back door of the brothel. Meat! It smelled like it had even been seasoned with herbs, kicking my appetite into high gear. For the common man, culinary herbs were a delicacy, expensive and not something you could get your hands on easily. That went doubly so for us in the slums. This is much more elaborate than I was expecting. How did you even get all the supplies you needed? It's mostly a mishmash of everyone's rainy day funds. Events like this are about the only way I can convince the girls to let loose. Everyone's also concerned about making sure they've always got plenty saved up, which ain't a bad thing in itself, but they're gonna end up stressing themselves straight to the grave. I smirked. Maria's heart was always with the girls. Obviously, the party was still for Morgana, but parties were meant to be enjoyed by everyone involved, not only the star. It would have been even better if we could have given all the girls tonight off and partied till we dropped. Unfortunately, business isn't strong enough to afford that. I'd rather not deal with a bunch of blue-balled buffoons bitching at me about it either. So all the girls who couldn't take off are getting an extra slice of meat to make up for it. You're on cutting duty. And make sure to cut them exactly the same size. You don't want anyone blowing their top about not getting the fair share. The fate of the party's in your hands. Don't fuck this up. I get the feeling I'll be their punching bag no matter how precisely I cut the meat. On a somewhat different note, I'm surprised you had herbs lying around. Oh yeah, those are... They were a gift from one of my rags. Hello, Jaren. What's up, Yaki? You're as obnoxiously perky as ever, I see. That's how you're gonna greet me, you big butt? For a particular subset of our customer base, it's that relentless perk that keeps them perky. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a compliment. Some girls have to pretend to be spunky airheads to keep those guys coming back, but you're a natural. That's impressive as hell. Is it? Oh, it is? Wait, I got a big boss's seal of approval. I don't think you quite get it, Jaren. You know how Jaren used to work up in the city? Well, one of her old clients followed her when she moved down here. And he's the one who gave her the herbs. Not that cheapo bottom-of-the-barrel stuff either. This is some primo shit. Nice haul, Jaren. You're right. You don't get this kind of aroma from a low-quality plant. It's strong enough I almost wonder if people outside can smell it. I bet we'll have at least a few customers drawn in thinking they were craving pussy only to find out they were really hungry. Someone needs to get this woman a damn filter. I really hope Morgs likes it. I know she used to hate even the sight of meat, but it seems like she's kind of gotten over that recently-ish. People do change over time, so maybe she'll be fine. Maybe she's some kind of traumatic meat-related past, and now she's just overcoming it. Or something to that effect. Hey, someone help with these dishes would be real nice. Oh, pick me, I'll do it. Alright, Yaki, see you in a bit. It sure didn't take long for her to make this place her home. You make it sound like that's a bad thing. What, do you not want her here or something? Because personally, I'm doing everything I can to make sure everyone here feels at home. No, I never said. Ahaha! Why so serious? It was just a joke. I agree with you entirely. A girl like her doesn't belong in a whorehouse. No, she doesn't. A while back, I'd suggested Jaren look into some other line of work, take up singing instead of prostitution. Oh yeah, I thought she was actually gonna like try and do that or something. I guess not. On her days off, she still went to the pub and performed, always to great acclaim. Well, it seemed she had seriously considered my proposition. A few days later, she said, I think I'd rather stick around the brothel for a while. You and Maria treat me like family. I want to be with my family for now, you know? She'll survive on her own before setting up shop? Yeah, all I know is that she... After getting carted away, she just kind of like wandered about in the forest until she found the cabin. Are we gonna see all of that? I kind of thought that we'd just see this whole section, but who knows? If that's what she wants, that's her choice. I have no right to force what I think is best on her. So, question. Yeah. Have you decided what you're gonna give her? I haven't the faintest idea what you're referring to. Bullshit! I know, you know. I know you know I know. Ugh, why does she have to be so damned astute? Or is it just that obvious? I hadn't spoken about my feelings for Morgana with anyone since I'd realized I had them. Not even Maria, my closest friend. But she had a way of seeing right through me. And while she often poked fun about me about the age difference, she never actually mocked me. Not seriously, at least. I was gonna show her the world. Though she did avoid bringing it up while Jaren was around out of respect for her feelings. Pretty much all the other girls seemed to have picked up on it. Jaren likely had as well. Then again, it was Jaren. It was equally likely she hadn't an inkling. After one particularly extensive round of teasing, Maria had gone on to say, in the end, all that really matters is that you're happy. Sure, I'll feel bad for Jaren. But ultimately, me and you, we've been to hell and back together. If I have to pick one of you, it'll be you. And yeah, I know, cheesy as fuck, you don't have to tell me. But hey, there's still the chance Morgana will give you the most brutal rejection of all time. Hell, I call that one more likely than the alternative. Thanks. And that was her way of showing support. So what do you get her? As your big sister, I'd be happy to check out the present before you give it to her. Make sure you don't make too big of an ass out of yourself. Again, I'm older than you, and again, we're not related. I brought a necklace, as per your suggestion. Girls appreciate that sort of thing, don't they? Don't they? Most do. Me, I've got a taste for knives and other such pointy things. I doubt she has much interest in those, though. Sometimes I wonder if you're actually a girl. Excuse you? Who's the last guy you saw with tits like these? I'm pretty damn smoking if I do say so myself. You telling me this body don't light a fire in your loins? Not even a spark. I've grown so accustomed to seeing you over the years, you don't even register in that part of my brain. Is that how it works? You spend so much time with someone you go numb? Would you rather I did find you arousing? Hell no! You so much as lay a finger on me and I'll make sure you never get it up again. Uh-huh. Right, big sis Maria. Yeah, that's what you say. And then don't bring up the subject. I'm gonna choose to believe she means I won't get up on my feet again. So? Today's the day, right? You give her the present and then you finally tell her how you feel. Excuse me, why would I? Don't be a wuss. It's about damn time you manned up and told her. I think you got a better chance than you think. Do I need to remind you how old she is?
12, as of today. Practically an adult. I was knee-deep in dick at that age. Maria, please. You're not a great precedent.
You're comparing her to you.
The longer you hold off from saying something, the more difficult it becomes. Break a leg. Potty's gonna be in the back, so there won't be any customers around to interfere.
I know, I remember that line too. I was like waiting for her to say it. Alright.
Ay. Anywho, I've got decorations to put up. You get going, meat boy.
With waiting until she turned 16 and really be putting it off for too long. How would I even go about saying it, assuming I actually did? Even if your face still isn't healed in 4 years, I'll take you as my lifetime partner, Morgana. God, no, that's terrible. There has to be a better way to put it. So much for a nice, relaxing birthday. Morgana arrived as the sun was beginning to set and our preparations neared completion.
Oh, this is gonna go downhill. This is gonna go downhill and I already finished my tea. I'm not ready.
Myself, Maria, Jaren, and a handful of other girls who didn't have to work were gathered in the back room. Dishes stacked with food lined the floor. Our group sat in a circle around it. Several different conversations were going at once.
Yeah. I apologize for not being able to assist in any way. Don't apologize, it's your birthday. Sit your little bum down and let the world revolve around you for once. If you insist. Atta girl, hop on right down, not in the friggin' corner.
Hey Morgana. There's space next to me. It's a much better spot than over there in the corner. You have an easy access to anything you'd like to eat. Though I suppose if you wanted, I could get your food for you.
I'll sit next to Maria.
Don't think I didn't hear that. Rejected!
Amberx, how's it drink? Your head spinning yet? It most certainly is not. Well, let's make it spin. Let's make the whole world spin. Wait! Wine is only to be used for nourishment and is not meant for base recreation. You shall be smitten down from above if... It's fine, don't worry. Even God's taking the day off to get wasted out of his mind. How dare you disrespect the Lord like that? Eat, drink, eat, drink. Wait, stop, I can't.
Oh no, what are you doing?
I'm in heaven, my stomach's in heaven. Ah.
Oh. She's sound asleep.
Girl acts like it's her birthday we're celebrating here. What do you say? Want me to give her a good whack upside the head? No, it's fine. Let her sleep. She looks so happy, I would almost feel bad waking her.
If you say so. You're the one in charge today.
They got to eat at least. So, you and Jaren getting on all right? Huh? It looked like you were trying to keep your distance a little while back. I don't get that impression from you anymore, but if there's any friction at all, don't hesitate to let me know. I wonder, after getting along fine with her now. If anything does come up, I will tell you. Okay. Well, I'm really glad to hear it. With Jaren, it's, well, what you see is what you get. Once you get past that, there's never a dull moment with her. Indeed. Although it wasn't anything I did that cleared the air between us, but... Oh? Never mind. This asshole thinks that because he's paying, that means he can do whatever he feels like. Now I'm having to tell him to back off and just, I can't believe some of these guys. I'm so sorry. I've got a good one too. The other day this guy came in totally shit-faced. Wait, are you serious? Why didn't you tell me about this earlier? I'd have chased the prick off if I'd known.
It seems like anytime you get more than a couple of these girls together, conversation inevitably drifts back to work. Which, of course, is a subject Morgana's least keen on. Oh, she looks like she wants to run away. Guess I gotta step in. You guys think you can maybe change the subject?
Like we have anything else to talk about.
Making the birthday girl want to hide in a corner defeats the whole purpose, don't you think?
Oh no, don't mind me. I don't have anything I want to talk about.
At least eat something, then.
I've eaten plenty, thank you. I'm quite full.
And how about the cookies? They're barely sweetened and dry as rocks, but they're edible.
Jacopo, you little bitch! You got some stones to shit-talk my cookies to my face!
Stop it, Maria. Stop throwing things at me.
Ah!
For God's sake, can you not show a modicum of decorum for just one day?
Yeah, you're totally one to talk. You could try not to be a massive dick for once in your life.
Name one thing I've done to warrant this kind of abuse.
You first. You're the one who started throwing accusations. There it is, right and scheduled. You two lovebirds fight, fight, fight. We're not lovebirds. I don't even care anymore. You are right about one thing, though. This is Morgana's day, so let's change the subject. Like I said, I don't have anything to talk about. Sure you do. You just have to look a little harder. Not saying you have to reminisce for us. It can be anything. Let's see. Here's an idea. Any guys you got your eyes on?
Ugh.
There is.
Ugh.
What? Seriously? Holy shit! Who is it? Tell me, who's the lucky guy?
God. It's God. Don't give me that look. I don't need your sympathy.
If you're gonna dream, dream big, right? I get where you're coming from, pining after the all-powerful, all-knowing God. I'm with you.
You bald-faced liar.
The grass may be a hell of a lot greener up there. It's a bit far, don't you think? You're better settling for the weeds down here.
Did you just imply I'm a weed?
Say the young man over...
Wait, stop right there. Don't say another word.
Whoopsie. Me and my big mouth. I almost did your job for you.
Damn it, Maria. This is not good. Like hell, I'm gonna let her spill it on a whim. I have to do something before she has another slip of the tongue. Morgana. What she was trying to say is that I
have to go.
What?
I have to go to the bathroom.
Sure. Oh no, this is where...
Ugh. Gahahaha! My size ain't gonna last much longer if you keep this up.
This is no laughing matter.
Ow, what the hell? Don't throw things at me.
You did it first.
Ha 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 ha.
Damn it all.
Ah, now that was a good laugh. God, you're such a dork. How hard is it to just say it?
It would have been easier if you hadn't cornered me like that.
You expect me to believe you would have done it without a little nudge?
I would have. Eventually.
Eventually ain't gonna cut it. Now's the right time. Don't worry, me and the girls won't make fun of you too much for getting your rocks off to little girls.
That's not the reason I like her. And besides, I would wait at least 4 years before.
Doesn't mean you can't tell her now. I think it'd do her wonders, really. She's, well, you know. I think knowing someone cares about her lighten the load a bit. I mean, obviously we care about her too. She's like family. There are some things sisterly love just can't hold a candle to. Mushy romance may not be my cup of tea. That doesn't mean that even I don't think it'd be nice to have something special every once in a while. When she comes back, give her the necklace and tell her how you feel. If she turns you down, we can all have a good laugh about it.
Marie and the few other girls chuckled. My lips had twisted almost into a knot from sheer overwhelming discomfort. At the same time, I knew she had a point. I could say how I felt just as easily as 4 years from now. I couldn't develop into anything for some time yet, no, but simply letting Morgana know that someone cared about her, and her specifically, could very well lighten some of the load she bore. As much as she had warmed up to us, she still very clearly kept herself walled off. Though she tried to pretend otherwise, she did still get rather gloomy whenever she passed by something reflective. If I could convince her that her physical appearance had no bearing on my feelings, maybe, just maybe, it could clear away some of the clouds hanging over her.
No! I know, because it happens just now while she's like away.
Possibly even light the way to the day when I could last see her smile. That was all the motivation I needed.
She doesn't get the necklace because Maria still has it, and she's like, and then he was gone forever. But she should at least get the necklace. Maybe that'll help, I don't know.
I'll do it. I'll tell her. Not only for myself, but for her as well. I can do this.
No.
Now making myself nervous as hell. Calm yourself, Jacopo. This is nothing. You infiltrated the Lord's manor for crying out loud. Telling a girl how you feel is considerably less likely to kill you. Even a child could do it.
You look so tense your nerves could snap at any moment.
I am not.
Ahaha!
God damn it, please hurry up, Morgana. I want to get this over with as soon as possible.
No!
What's that
Sounded like a scream. Trouble with a client, maybe?
No, it didn't sound like that kind of scream. Something's wrong. I can feel it in my gut. Maria, I need you to take the girls down to the cellar now.
All right, I'll send them down, but I'm coming with you to see what's up. It could just be a client causing a ruckus.
No, you go with the girls. I'll check it out. Now get moving.
Okay, I'm going. Wake up, Jaren, come on!
Now!
Must be a client, yup. It's just a client.
Following the first, there were several more screams intermingled with what sounded like men shouting from the guest room. Something very bad was happening out there. My sword is back at the armory, damn it.
No!
Taking a brief detour to the kitchen to grab a knife, I dashed through the corridor towards the source of the disturbance. Shoving my way past a several-layer thick makeshift curtain.
No help. Ah!
Oh, stay back. I'm just a customer. I don't have anything. Ugh! What the hell was I seeing?
Ah, help!
Ah! Why was this happening? This is seriously all they got? My shit's worth more than most of this garbage. Take the whores alive, you hear me? They'll probably sell for more than anything else we find. They were laying waste to the brothel. Untrained, unarmed, and unclothed, the girls and their clients alike were helpless against the slaughter being rained down upon them. Bludgeoned, mutilated, massacred. A good dozen men, thieves by the look of it, had swarmed the brothel, utterly ravaging it. Well, you'd imagine that they took them by surprise, probably. Blood splattered every which way, staining the colorful fabrics hanging at the walls. The stench of blood, screams of agony, cries of fear, hoots of mad glee all blended into one sickening blur. I nearly stepped into the chaos, but stopped myself at the last second. I was furious. Of course I was. I knew those girls, and this band of barbarians was slaughtering them before my very eyes. I wanted nothing more than to charge in and rescue all of them. But I also knew damn well that me charging in there alone would accomplish nothing. God damn it. Why now? Why here? Why? And how did they get so many men in here? If there were any signs of organized movement, someone would have noticed. I would have heard about it. How did they manage to sneak past everyone we have in patrol? How is it even possible a bunch of damn bandits managed to organize a raid of the scale without anyone catching wind of it? Damn it. There's no saving anyone in the guest room. I need to find whoever else I can and get them out through the back. As soon as I decided there was nothing I could do here, my next job was obviously to minimize any further loss of life. I knew logically it was a smart thing to do, but that knowledge didn't do anything to quell the anger roiling around inside me. Then another thought snapped to the front of my mind, rattling me further. Morgana. She had said she was going to the bathroom, which meant she hadn't come this way. So I ideally hoped. Hope wasn't enough to overcome the fear that she had. I searched frantically for any sign of her. More panicked than ever, even I realized. I knew exactly what one of these brutes could do to Morgana if they happened across her. A prostitute in decent health they would merely take captive. Seeing Morgana's face, they would assume she had a kind of disease. They would kill her without a second thought. Morgana. Intending to take my search elsewhere, I set off, my shadow subtly darkening. In too much of a rush to notice. Something seemed to crash into me from behind. The world flashed in and out of view. For a split second, the multicolored fabrics around me appeared in black and white. I barely held on to my consciousness. A few seconds later, the pain set in. My gaze drifted downwards to the curious protrusion in my stomach. The tip of a blade sticking out of my gut. Blood streamed along the metal surface. What? I twisted my body, distinctly aware of every minuscule movement of the blade as it slid through raw flesh back out the hole it had entered. It was almost enough to make my legs buckle. When I finally managed to turn all the way around, there stood a large man, probably grinning. He kicked me backward, and then rammed his heel through the gash in my stomach. I let out an animalistic howl. It was a pain unlike any I'd ever experienced before. I felt as though I had been struck by lightning. The only thing I had room for in my mind was overwhelming agony. Before long, it reached its breaking point. Damn it. The whole world went black.
Jacopo! Jacopo! Wake up, please. Open your eyes. I can't have you dying on me too. I'm begging you, open your eyes. Jacopo!
Where am I? The back room of the brothel. I'm alive. Where is she? Ugh.
Lie back down. Are you trying to kill yourself? You're hurt bad enough as it is.
I've been bandaged up. They're still bright red. I guess the bleeding hasn't stopped. I'm cold.
I swear to God, I was sure I'd lost you.
Maria, are you crying?
You got a problem with that, asshole.
I'm sorry. How many years has it been since I last saw her cry? It was back when she was 12, I think. Besides us, there are 2 other girls here. No sign of Morgana or Jaren. This can't be everyone who made it, can it?
What did I just say? Lie your ass back down. Need to give it some time to heal before you move around much. Jacopo!
Ignoring Maria's pleas, I stumbled my way toward the guest room, leaning against the wall for support. I had evidently lost quite a bit of blood. I was freezing cold and constantly on the edge of vomiting. My body was heavy, like someone had strapped a boulder to my back. My vision swirled, distorting with each step I took. I knew it wasn't that long of a walk from the back to the front, but it felt like it would take me ages just to get down this hall. Like I was on an endless march towards a vast empty abyss. I had braced myself. What I felt when I stepped into that room was a despair too deep for words. The meager scraps of strength that had carried me this far dissipated. I slowly slid to my knees. The door hung open, a blood-soaked curtain flapping in the wind. The deep crimson was a stark contrast against the brightly colored fabric. The girls had dyed it themselves. I could still remember Maria first telling me about it, however many years before, her eyes alight with pride. How, when you put a whole bunch of different colors together, it made the place seem almost otherworldly. And the patrons who had been drawn in by its allure today had not found themselves in the land of milk and honey, instead been cast into a pit of death. Several corpses lay motionless around the room, their faces twisted in agony, their eyes vacant. What the hell? Why? How could this happen? I asked, stupefied, neither expecting an answer, nor trying to place the blame on anyone's shoulders. It was an empty, meaningless lamentation.
Call on, please. No!
Powerless as the man who had uttered it. All of us felt the same way. Hopeless, helpless, horrified. Not more than an hour ago, we had been having a party, for God's sake. Fooling around like a bunch of idiots, the girls complaining about their clients, plates of food, specially made for her birthday. Her birthday. Where's Morgana?
I couldn't find her.
Why not?
I'm sorry. I looked everywhere. I couldn't find her. I'm so sorry.
I wanted to tell her I wasn't blaming her, but I couldn't find the words. If anyone, it was myself I was disappointed in. How could I fail to keep her safe? Why had I been unable to find her? Why was I so damned powerless? This was supposed to be a good day for her. I'd wanted to make Morgana's 12th birthday into a special occasion, something truly memorable, to celebrate the bright future ahead of her. And I had failed in the worst way imaginable. What was supposed to be a celebration of life had ended in a pile of corpses, most of the surviving girls taken captive, and the brothel in shambles. And Morgana, who it was all supposed to be for, was most likely dead as well. She was dead. Morgana was dead. Before I had the chance to say anything. The girl I loved was gone. All because I was weak. Because I hadn't been cautious enough. Because I was completely, utterly powerless. And now she was gone for good. Before I'd managed to make her smile even once. I was gonna show her the world how full of myself was I. I hadn't done a single damn thing for her. Physical strength was meaningless for what I wanted to achieve. What good was being number 2 in our little band of peacekeepers if I couldn't stand up to a pack of bandits? I didn't have any real power. I was worthless, helpless, weak. My sole job was to keep this place safe, and it was painfully clear how that unsuited to the task I was. My initial fears were right. It was only the 4 of us who had made it through the assault. Maria said that while they had made it to the cellar safely, they were soon discovered and most of the girls taken captive. Jaren included. If only she had quit, left the brothel, taken up singing at the pub, she could have been spared this. Spared having to be kidnapped for a 3rd time. Because she thought of us as family, she cared about and wanted to be with us. She was taken away.
Jaren.
If I had the power, this all could have been prevented. Not physical strength or skill with a blade, but real, meaningful power. Political influence, import. If I weren't a peasant, no one would dare stand up to me. No petty thieves would ever consider raiding my property. I could have hired guards to watch over the brothel. The only reason the Lord, that reprehensible man, was still alive was because he had real power, enough to assure his own safety. If I had that kind of power, everyone would still be here, safe and sound. I could have made certain of that. Yeah, the swordsman was a slave too in the cart, and he killed everyone. Assuming that Jaren was in the same cart as Morgana. Shoot. I hope not. I could have made certain of that. Maria wouldn't be crying. Jaren would still be part of our family. And she, Morgana, would still be alive. She would still be by my side. And that one simple thing could keep anything like this from happening again. In short order, Gratian burst into the brothel. Seeing the carnage, he wailed in grief, which quickly transformed into fury. I watched on, only really half paying attention as he raged. He marched over and said something or other, I couldn't say what. After the fact, Mira told me I'd been in a stupor the whole time Gratian was there. He had apparently tried to cheer me up, though soon found himself frustrated and finally disappointed in me. It took 3 days for me to get back on my feet. There was no sign of Morgana's body anywhere in the ruins of the brothel, which meant there was a chance, however slight, that she was still alive. I clutched tight to that tiny sliver of hope, searching desperately for any sign of her. Maybe she had realized something was wrong and gone into hiding. No matter how many people I talked to, no one had seen anyone who matched her description. She was just gone, like a puff of smoke, which left two possibilities. Either she had taken along with the other girls to be sold off, or she had been killed and her body disposed of somewhere out of sight. While the latter seemed significantly more likely, deep down, I still yearned for even the slightest trace of her. Marie encouraged me to let go and move on, though I knew her well enough to know it wasn't out of lack of compassion. The whole affair had visibly taken its toll on me. One day, about a week later, my wound still healing, I made my way through the slums. Nestled away in an alleyway stood a nondescript little shack. I knocked on the door, and a few moments later it slid barely half an inch open, just enough for the sole resident to peer out at me, suspicion clearly visible in her eyes. Oh, is this his fake mother? Once she realized it was me, warmth filled her gaze. She waved for me to come inside, a gesture that somehow made it feel like I was being invited into another world entirely. Beyond the door stood a noblewoman who held herself with an elegance and grace unbefitting of the slums, a darkness that felt right at home.
I heard about the attack on the brothel, and that you were hurt. I'm so glad to see you're well.
You were concerned about my safety. The woman pulled back her hood, revealing her face. Though age had clearly begun taking its toll on her, there was still a striking beauty to her, a kind of beauty impossible to attain down here in the dredges of society. I think, yeah, tea break soon. I could really use it. Her hair was burnt brown, her skin dark, and her facial structure somewhat similar to mine. I remember then that this wasn't the first time I'd seen her. It was fairly recently, not that many years ago, she would have me believe. We had briefly crossed paths on a day of the Midsummer Festival. The woman I'd bumped into, that was her.
Of course, show me a mother who is not always concerned about her child's safety.
The woman's name was Geneva. She claimed to have been a maidservant for the previous lord. It was unusual enough for someone of her stature to be living in a rundown shack in the slums, but her story got even stranger. Supposedly, she had an intimate relation with him. She had borne his illegitimate son, and a month later, she had come to me and said I was that child. So it's a woman I'd never seen until a month ago.
Physical distance has no bearing on a mother's love. If you had gone to speak with the Lord and revealed your lineage when I first came to see you, you would never have been in that kind of danger.
So, in the original game, he said that she'd come to him earlier on, like, in the streets just out of nowhere and said, "Oh, you're my son. You should really, please, take your, place on the throne and overthrow the Lord." And he was like, "You're full of bullshit." And then after the incident with the bandits and all of that, he finally came to her to reclaim it. Even knowing that, she was lying. Geneva spoke as though she knew exactly what had been going through my mind this past week. The very words that had dominated my thoughts as I looked upon the wreckage. If only I'd done as she had said and asserted my nobility. Well, yeah, because he was born in a different country. would have had the power to prevent the attack on the brothel, to protect the people I loved. If what Geneva had said was true, the Barnier family once possessed more land than even the king. And that land and the family was divided up between each of their sons. The Barniers were only a few generations removed from the current royal family, which was why they controlled so much land in the first place. And that meant, though it had diluted with each successive generation, there was still royal blood in the Barnier bloodline. The child begotten by the previous lord was more than entitled to a place among the nobility. However, realistically speaking, even if I had lent my ear to her cajolery, it wouldn't have changed anything. Worse, I could very well no longer be in this world. I wasn't stupid. The noblewoman, she was just using me.
There is still time. Go to the Lord's manor, show him.
I'm not really your son, am I? Geneva felt silent for a moment, observing me. I had no memories of my mother. Sure, it might be nice if she were to show back someday, but it just wasn't likely. Her whole story was extremely contrived. The sun could decide to rise from the west one day. There would still not be a drop of noble blood in my veins. I knew perfectly well how filthy the blood in me was. Discussions will progress much smoother if we both know what the other wants out of this arrangement. Start by telling me who you really are. Or are you actually a maidservant for the previous lord?
Yes, I was.
She gave a nod, then walked over to a grimy shelf and retrieved a ring that looked very much out of place. It was made of gold, engraved with an elaborate insignia. There wasn't a metalworker anywhere in the slums, or the city proper at that, who could craft a piece so intricate.
Look at this. It's the Barnier family crest. The previous lord gave me this ring as a gift. I've kept it ever since, even after our relationship was discovered and I was chased out. I didn't sell it because I knew I was with child. They will have no choice but to acknowledge you as a legitimate heir if you show them this ring.
Why did you wait so long to come find me then?
I was afraid they might kill you if I brought you in as a baby.
Why were we separated?
Misfortune. One day bandits came and kidnapped you. Presumably they were hired by the Barnier estate because they didn't want your existence coming to light. I consider it a miracle you're still alive.
I can only imagine the stern look on my face as I listened to Geneva speak. Part of me did, indeed, want to take everything she said as true. Wanted to believe I was somewhat important. Wanted to grab hold of the fantasy that I did have noble blood in me and never let go of it. Had I not come face to face with my own powerlessness a week earlier, perhaps I could have swallowed the delusion. Used it as a stepping stone for my dream to show Morgana the world. It would appear you've done your research. I don't have any other family, to the best of my knowledge, which does indeed make me a good candidate for you to step in and claim your stake on. And if I were to guess, your child with the Lord has either passed away or never existed at all. It's probably true that you worked at the Barnier's manor. It's probably true that you had relations with the former lord. You were chased out, now you live in poverty. Do you want to go back to your former, more comfortable life? While you're at it, take vengeance on the current lord. Perhaps you simply want the entire noble class to suffer. The specifics of your motives are irrelevant, though. Being a woman, you have no means to accomplish that yourself. You came up with the idea of using a fake son. If your child were still alive, he would be right about my age, wouldn't he? We look similar enough for you to convincingly claim we're related. But the biggest reason you chose me is because I've made something of a name for myself. Because I was one of the people involved in the inciting revolt 3 years ago. The perfect choice to spearhead a revolution. How dramatic. The man who set the Lord's slaves free was secretly his family. The people would eat it right up. So, how far off am I?
Ha. You're sharp for a filthy peasant. It would seem I chose wisely.
I was right. She was a manipulative, conniving shyster. Her insults didn't bother me in the slightest. Those words made so much more sense than any mad claim I'd roll blood in me, that I was some kind of hero. Following suit, I twisted my lips up into a smirk. I was a filthy peasant, and I was fine with that. All it meant was that I had to claw my way up to the top. I'm in. Geneva and I then discussed the details of her scheme, after which she gave me the Barnier's ring. I doubt anyone would have ever imagined it would end up in the grimy hands of a slum rat. Once our discussion was done, I headed straight to the pub where the rest of the gang liked to congregate. Ooh, I'm gonna take a tea break real quick before we continue any further. It sucks. That sucked. Ugh, jeez. Let's go get that tea.
New drink called hot sauce. 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 New drink called hot sauce.
어디다 뿌려도 맛있어 핫소스. 어디다 뿌려도 맛있어 핫소스. 어디다 뿌려도 맛있어 핫소스. 어디다 뿌려도 맛있어 핫소스. 맛있어 맛있어 핫소스. 맛있어 맛있어 핫소스. 맛있어 원더랜드 이 공간을 쪼개 너에게 줄게 처음에 우리 낯설 거야 모든 게
Ah, okay. I am back. Nice. I took my time because I was like, oh shit. You wanted that tea break so you can get some food. So I'm gonna take extra time so you can go do that. I know I'm the best. Ooh. Okay. I know. I'm so thoughtful. And amazing. This tea's good. Still have no biscuits to have it with, but it's fine, I'll survive. Let's continue, shall we?
Jacopo! Should you really be on your feet so soon?
I'm fine, thanks.
I'm glad to hear it. And I'm so sorry about what happened at the brothel.
There's a gang here.
What? Oh, yeah, near the back.
Thank you.
Are you sure you're okay?
This is like the first time the barmaid hasn't been yelling. Booze wench, yep. Poor Morgana. She got the worst end of the stick all the time. Well, look what the cat dragged in. Was just talking about going to whip your sorry ass back into shape. You ain't still moping, are ya? I get it, kid, I do. It's bollocks, but you're a man. Instead of crying, you should be... ration. Yeah? It's time we started ourselves a revolution. Are you just gonna stare at me or actually say something? You're the ones always going on about revolution this and revolution that.
I think it's called being shocked to silence.
You're serious about this, Jacopo? Am I one to joke about this sort of thing?
No, you're not. You sure as hell aren't, are you?
Well, it's about damn time, if I do say so myself. I knew you'd come around eventually. I knew you wouldn't stay sulky forever. Things will get better once we rip that fucker's head off. Should I cut down on the number of people turning to should also cut down the number of people turning to thievery. We'll never have to deal with anything like what happened at the brothel again. Never again, you hear me? Indeed.
What do you have in mind, Jacopo? Didn't you say we'd need help from a noble to have a chance?
We can help figure that out after we crush the Lord's skull.
Yeah, I don't think that's the best plan.
What's gotten into you all? You're always going on about how you want to stage a revolution. Now that we're actually talking about it, you're pussing out? No one's pussing out, it's just... We have a noble. For real? Well, if you got it all worked out, why didn't you just say so? Who's our guy? Who's the noble who's agreed to give us a hand? The former lord's illegitimate son. Oh, his actual son? Really? That means he could legitimately inherit the lordship. Whoa, whoa, whoa! How the hell do you get in bed with the biggest fish in the city? If you're telling the truth, this is huge. That don't just give us a leg to stand on, this puts a damn law on our side. So how hard it'd be setting up a meeting with the guy? This ain't some measly uprising. We're gonna go through with this. Oh, I'd like to see our royal sponsor for myself. You're looking at him. Say what? I am the former lord's son. No way, not a chance. Seriously, kid? You need to find yourself a functioning sense of humor, because that just ain't funny. I'm telling you the truth. This ring proves it. It's a nice ring and all, but how does it prove that you're a Barnier? Where did you? How? This is the real deal. I was a slave at the Lord's Manor for a while. I've seen the family crest enough to recognize it. As I said, I'm not the kind of person to joke about this sort of thing. What? The way you really... Holy shit, I can't believe it! One of us is an actual noble! Yours did seem a little not like the rest of us, Jacopo. More uptight. Pretty sure I said the same thing when I first met ya. That you look like some rich aristocrat kid. This is great, guys. We can actually do this. We can actually make this happen. Wow, can't believe... Well, I mean, they were all buds before anyway. But then none of this lasts long either, because then they start, like, going at his throat. Let's do it. Let's start a revolution. Yeah! Gratian is a little bit, I wonder. Gratian. Ah, nah, it's nothing. It's just a surprise is all. Who'd have frickin' thought? You, a noble, us madness. How long have you known? Why didn't you tell me? I thought we were friends. I only found out recently. Sorry for keeping it from you. It all happened very suddenly. I was waiting for the right time to say something. No need to apologize, kid. You just put the wind back in our sails. Don't think I'm gonna start buttering up to you just because you're a bona fide stick-up-the-ass type now, though. Of course not. The last thing I want is to see you licking my feet. Haha. Alright, fellas, we got ourselves a noble, so let's set the date and get this ball rolling. Yeah. What had once been nothing more than a pipe dream was, against all odds, soon to be a reality. Everyone wanted the Lord removed from power. They were angry and frustrated, and on several occasions had even seriously considered resorting to another revolt to make it happen. No one had been able to turn those emotions into actions, because they all knew a revolt was destined to be quashed before it made any difference. There was no hope to be found down that path, but an actual revolution, that was another story. Especially with someone poised to take the Lord's place on their side. They had a fighting chance, and they had no reason not to take it. As the fire in their eyes swelled to a blaze, mine seemed to sputter out, leaving behind a withered husk. I felt as though I was sitting in a theater, watching on as the story unfolded before me. No, that didn't quite capture how I felt. I wasn't even watching it with my own eyes, merely listening quietly as someone recounted for me their heroic deeds. The fact that I was an indispensable part of this operation still hadn't fully sunk in. All I knew was that I wasn't completely powerless anymore. But while a fiery passion and hope for the future filled Gratian and the rest of the gang, a dark, poisonous revulsion for God and fate streamed in to fill the hole left in me by the attack on the brothel. Preparations proceeded smoothly, with Geneva providing inside information and guidance. As I had expected, there were a not significant number of nobles dissatisfied with the way Barnia ruled, and they were constantly looking for a way to eradicate the cloud of pestilence hanging over the land. However, the Lord had eyes everywhere in the upper circles. He was especially mindful of who associated with whom and how often. Any signs of opposition was swiftly dealt with before they had a chance to pose any threat. So the nobility needed an outsider, someone the Lord wasn't on the lookout for, to step in and assert power. Geneva arranged for several guards and attendants within the Lord's manor to betray him on the day of the revolution. They would open the doors for us from the inside, and we would storm the manor. Damn. Structurally, the plan was similar to the slave revolt, the two major differences being my role, and the Lord's death being our primary goal. As the day drew nearer, it was all anyone in the slums seemed to be talking about. Though we did our best to encourage everyone to stay quiet, so as to not alert the Lord, it was impossible to keep the excitement contained. It wasn't long before word reached Maria's ears. She approached me, pale as a ghost, and attempted to talk me out of it.
Haven't you had enough danger for one life? Come on, forget about all this revolution stuff. We can build up a new brothel and just stay low for the rest of our days. Does that really sound so bad? You're the only friend I've got left, Jacopo.
She was practically begging, which she almost never did. While I sympathized with her, Maria's desperation did nothing to try my resolve.
Heck.
And before long, the day was finally upon us.
Hear me, my fellow citizens who live in suffering at the hands of your supposed lord. Within me
flows the blood of the previous lord. I'm the rightful heir. Behold, the Barnia's golden ring. Proof that I am of noble birth. Victims of this terrible tyrant. The time has come to start anew. I shall be the one to lead you down that path. The poor, the hungry, the deprived. All of you stand with me. Before we commenced our strike on the Lord's Manor, I gave a little speech in the city square. Not because we actually needed them to take up arms and fight with us, but because we needed to make a public proclamation of our position before overthrowing the Lord. They needed to know we were not merely opponents of the Lord, but proponents of the common man. That we'd had a legitimate cause and a legitimate claim to power. If we were to leave them in the dark, it would only sow confusion and unrest when word of the Lord's death came out. They had to see us as their liberators, not a greater evil swooping in to squash a lesser one. The Lord had been squeezing everything he could out of them for years, sucking them dry. I didn't expect anyone to actually have the willpower to join us. The important thing was that they knew who I was. I'd underestimated them. A slow trickle of people stood to join us, and by the time we were at the city's edge, we had accumulated dozens of additional men, transforming our little uprising into something of a much greater scale. The people had been waiting, day in and day out, for someone to take up the banner and lead the way. It didn't matter that the one holding the banner did so under false pretenses.
intruders were under attack. Yeah! Get him! Oh!
With the added support, our forces rendered the manor's defenses practically useless. Townsfolk flooded the property, overwhelming even fully armored soldiers. Farmers turned the tools of their trade into deadly weapons, plunging all manner of spiked implements into guards' necks. It didn't take long for the pungent stench of blood to fill the air. Panicked servants scrambled away from the chaos as quickly as they could manage. I made my way through the corridors to the great hall, where the Lord presumably waited, Gratian at my side. We're here to relieve you of your head, Lord.
Have these savages removed from my property immediately?
Yes, my lord. I guess I shouldn't be surprised offenses are heaviest here. Watch yourself, Gratian. You can shove that concern right back where it came from, kid. I ain't about to let a bunch of mix do me in. No number of these pansy little fuckers is enough to take me down. Is there any situation capable of tempering that big mouth of yours? You can handle all the guards then. I'll take care of the Lord. You want to take the prize all for yourself, eh, kid? Normally I'd tell you to piss off. But I'll give you this one. It's what the people would want besides. Thank you for understanding. But remember, if you screw this pooch, I'll make sure you're the laughing stock of the whole city. Don't worry, I will come back with his head. He's been training this time. The fact that Barnier was still here suggested he knew he had nowhere safe to flee to. Unlike the slave revolt 3 years prior, we were entirely on the offensive this time. He didn't appear particularly perturbed about his predicament, though. He likely had little doubt that he would make it through the day safely. I knew Barnier was skilled with a sword. Despite all Gratian's talk, the guards he kept by his sides were hardly going to be third-rate. They would be the best of the best. Praying Gratian would be able to hold them off long enough, I weaved my way through the wall of armed men, marching straight for Lord Barnier. He slowly drew his sword, readying himself for combat.
Well, imagine that. It's you again. I'd assumed you had died off in a hole somewhere.
Hate to disappoint you. Staying alive is one of my few talents.
How filthy for a how fitting for a filthy maggot.
Well, I hope you're ready to be devoured by that very maggot. Holy shit.
It would seem your tongue has gotten rather sharp since we last met. Though I needn't to remind you how this played out 3 years ago, do I? Your blade will never get anywhere near my head. I will, however, give you a good reminder of precisely how feeble and worthless you slum rats are. Within me flows the blood of the royal family, direct descendants of God himself, while your blood is made from the refuse of the earth. We are no more the same species as a worm is a wolf. Your very being in my presence is a slight of the highest order.
I think you'll find our blood is much more similar than you think. When I take that ugly head off your shoulders, we can both get a good look at how equally filthy your blood is to mine. I'm not the boy I was 3 years ago. Oh no! I'll drag you down from your throne on high and show you for the dregs of the earth you really are.
You would dare insult me, cur.
We traded strikes, going on offense and defense in roughly equal parts. Barnier was quick on his feet and quicker with his blade. When I attacked, he swayed effortlessly out of its path, like a stalk of wheat in the wind. When he attacked, he was like a typhoon. He had a prowess that could never be overcome with brute strength. That's true, Yukimasa does take a lot of his voice. Just a little bit different, though. However... Oh, heck. And I'd not spent the last 3 years idle. While I could hardly imitate the refined swordsmanship of a trained nobleman, I had a much better grasp on how and when to most effectively put my weight into a swing, how to maintain the ideal amount of distance between us. There was one other key difference. I had no intention of running. Either I would take off his head, or I would end up a bloody heap on the floor. There was no other way this battle could end.
Think about what you're doing, slum rat. About who you're pointing that blade at. An attack on me is an attack on God. It is an act of unspeakable sacrilege.
little late to take the moral high ground. You that afraid of dying. Then put your tail between your legs and start running.
You insolent! I'm the rightful heir of the Barnier family. The blood of the kings flows in my veins. I am the ultimate ruler of this land and my people. I would never condescend to turn my back to a worthless rat.
Well, don't say I didn't give you the choice. That just means we'll keep on doing this until one of us is dead. Every swing, every step, every slight shift of balance had a more weight than the last. Unlike last time, where the pressure had only served to light a fire under me, it was now building up inside me, growing, taking form. I could now perfectly trace the path of his blade dancing through the air. Back then, the only advantage I had over Barnier was physical strength and pluck. Things were very different now. He was agile, but I could keep up with him. No, I was beginning to overtake him. Allow me to borrow your words, if you would. Perhaps you should save the snide yapping for when you have the skill to back it up.
Don't get cocky, you insignificant rat. You treacherous cur.
Oh shit, no! It's awful because these are the things that Jacopo says later on. The Lord swung down at me with all his strength. I managed to parry the strike with little trouble. In that moment, I had undeniable power. Power. That's right. I wasn't powerless. I would never let myself be powerless again. Ever. And if I couldn't manage that, then I deserved to rot here as the weak, worthless man I was. I had the chance, here and now, to take out not only the Lord, but the me of old as well. The helpless, impotent boy who couldn't even protect the ones he loved. That's exactly what I'll do. I'll show you that I'm not who I used to be. I'm not that sniveling little boy from 3 years ago. Before long, Barnier was coming up against a far wall.
You impudent worm.
We were both breathing hard, dripping with sweat. The air seemed to waver like there was a fire burning between us. A fire fueled by our own souls. That heat extended to the entire hall, in staunch defiance of the cold winter sitting beyond the walls. Perhaps the room had transformed into one of the halls of hell itself. Where's your god now, huh? Ugh! It's time to end this. Your time on this earth has come to an end, Barnier. I readjusted my grip on my sword, repositioned my feet on the hard floor, lining everything up for my final strike, and then threw a little extra fuel on the fire, before breaking into a dash. However... Wait! What? 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 Dun dun dun! The last person I expected to see stood there between me and the Lord, bringing me to an emergency stop just moments before I would have taken off his head. Jaren! Because I had been running at full speed, I staggered, almost tripping before catching my balance. She reached out and placed her hand on my shoulder, pleading at me with eyes of the color of early spring leaves. I could see myself, aghast, reflected in those eyes. I shouldn't have stopped. I shouldn't have hesitated. For any reason. I should have knocked Jaren to the side and taken off Barnier's head. A torrent of questions rained down on me, entangling me from head to toe like a spider's web. Why? How? What was Jaren doing here? Why did she ask him to stop? Why was she standing between me and Barnier? No. The answer hit me like a bolt of lightning. Only 4 people had survived the raid on the brothel. We had prepared a safe room underground in case of emergency, and the stairs down were hidden beneath the floorboards. Yet Maria had said they found quickly most of the girls taken captive. You didn't. The attack had been well organized and large scale. Ugh, jeez, really?
Jaren. What the hell?
The aroma of the herbs, which was strong enough to be smelled outside, have been some kind of signal? How could you? How could you betray us? What came out of my mouth was not words, though, but a pained, visceral wail. Overpowering everything else I felt was paralyzing shock.
What the shit?
The blade sticking out of Jaren's chest pierced my breast. Our blood flowed down the opposite ends of the silver edge, melding into a single stream. I'd completely lost any sense of what was happening, left only with crushing bewilderment. Ugh! Bonnie let out a deep, bellowing laugh from behind Jaren. The sound resonated through the blade in his hand. I could literally feel him mocking me from inside my body. Why? How could you do that, Jaren? No. How could you, Bonnier? Jaren had double-crossed us. As much as I didn't want to believe it, I no longer had much of a choice. She had claimed she thought of us like family, when in reality she was colluding with the Lord. She was the one who had brought ruin upon the brothel. I couldn't reconcile with what I saw with what I knew. I couldn't forgive that kind of betrayal, and I couldn't even begin to comprehend Bonier's actions. How can you hide behind her when she stood up for you? How can you so readily cast her aside? She saved your life. How could you do this to her?
Ha ha ha.
What are you laughing at?
Look at your girl. Look at her face.
What? Why was Jaren? How could she possibly smile about any of this? What was going through her mind? Had she gone mad? I'd never seen her like... Wait. Yes, I had. I knew that smile. All too well. When the realization struck, an almost painful chill crawled up my spine. Jaren was always smiling. She could break the ice with anyone in no time. She brought laughter wherever she went. She was endlessly cheerful and sincere to a fault. Flames of our time together rushed through my mind. She was...
Presumably, you're thinking the girl's gone mad, but that isn't quite right. No. She's been mad all along.
What?
Could anyone in their right mind keep smiling after seeing their parents murdered and being sold off? Could anyone in their right mind genuinely believe they don't have a sorrow in the world? Could anyone in their right mind be smiling with a sword sticking out of their chest?
I don't. I can't.
The girl's malleable mirth is but a different shade of madness.
Welcome back, Phoenix Factory.
If she went mad, she wouldn't be smiling. Jaren lacks the capacity to comprehend negative emotions.
That can't be. She's compassionate, empathetic. There's no way she doesn't understand those emotions.
It's called good old-fashioned hard work. She pretends to show compassion, despite the fact that others' pain is incomprehensible to her.
No, I refuse.
You can't tell me there haven't been moments where you've seen the seams in her act.
In one of our conversations, I'd asked Jaren, have you never felt like you got the short end of the stick? To which she had responded,
I don't even know what the stick looks like. Never mind which end is the short one.
well, I'd assumed she'd either moved on or her threshold for happiness was on the low side. The scale she weighed it on was outright broken.
To tell you the truth, I'm rather fond of the girl. After all, I'm a madman myself.
I wanted to shut out his words, to act like it was all a crazy blather, like I didn't see any truth in it. All the proof I needed was staring right at me. Jaren was smiling, as bright and genuine as ever. The same smile she always showed us, as blood streamed down the blade in my chest. And still, I couldn't believe it. Still, I couldn't accept that she had chosen this man over us. You said you thought of us like family, Jaren. What happened to that? What happened to all our time together? You would throw it all away for him?
Yaki? Remember what I said?
Excuse me?
I had my eye on someone.
No! Jaren, what the shit? Jaren, really him? I was really hoping it was, Gratian.
God, this girl.
Oh. Whew. Wait. What? And she's gonna be like, but I really love Barnier more than anyone else.
I love you, Yaki, and everyone else at the brothel. But there's someone I love even more.
Yep, here we go.
You know, I'm not the cleverest girl. I can only see what's right in front of me.
How impossibly idiotic could I be? She never had an eye for me. Her heart had always belonged to Barnier. I was being presumptuous when I assumed she was talking about me at the festival. Why him, though? Why this man of all people? I about fell to my knees but managed to hold my balance long enough to stagger back. When the tip of Barnier's blade slipped from my chest, the blood it had been holding in seemed to rush out all at once. With it went everything I was feeling.
Ooh, wahaha. Some revolution this turned out to be right. As a parting gift, I'll let you in on a little something. The girl was my pawn from the very beginning, an informant sent to keep me apprised of anything that might spark opposition. If someone's amassing wealth illegitimately, I have them killed, or forced to surrender all their assets to me. If someone says something disagreeable about me, I have them hanged. That scheming wench, Geneva was it, is probably at the bottom of a river by now. But, it would seem I failed to keep everything under control, seeing as you're still breathing and dragging a pack of mindless peasants around with you. That's only a minor inconvenience, though. All I have to do is take off your head, and then without their leader, they'll regress back to the ignorant swine they are. Now it's time we put this ludicrous revolution to a rest.
Barnier shifted backwards slightly, making to pull a sword from Jaren's chest. She moaned, a sound of mixture of agony and ecstasy. I thought I could hear the flesh ripping as the blade passed through it. I should have been readying myself to fight again, to brandish my sword and take the bastard's head. I couldn't move an inch. Everything seemed to grow distant. My spirit was on the verge of collapse. The fire that had blazed within me had snuffed out in an instant. Countless memories crumbled before my eyes. The word death flashed through my mind, but it brought with it no fear, only vast hopelessness.
Don't you?
At the last of my will threatened to slip from my grasp, I heard a voice.
Remember what I said?
What?
I want to be together with you. Forever.
What do you think you're doing? Let go of the sword, Jaren.
Lucidity came rushing back to me. And a split second later, I understood what she meant, what she wanted. I didn't give myself a chance to consider where that road might lead if I wanted to walk down it. If it would come to regret the decision, or if it was the right thing to do. There was no time to think, only act. I couldn't let this opportunity go. So I shut everything out. My mind, my looming conscience, my heart, my sense of right and wrong, my heart. I shoved aside every possible distraction. Rekindled the near-extinguished fire of my rage. Let out a visceral howl. Oof! And swung. I could feel the impact in my arms as the blade tore through flesh and bone. Jaren's lifeless body dropped to the floor with a thud. And the tip of my blade ripped a gash in Vanya's throat. A geyser of blood erupted from his neck. He bent over, writhing in agony, and staggered back a few steps before his legs gave out and he dropped to his knees. His eyes were opened wider than I thought possible, and he brought both hands up to his throat to stem the flow of blood. Cocolamoco, please, no. With each beat of his heart, the flow surged, sending up sprays of life blood.
Impossible. Huh.
I was right. Noble blood and peasant blood all looked the same. Grunting and groaning, Vanya pawed at the floor, evidently still convinced he could scamper off and escape somehow. He left behind a trail of blood as he crawled. It was by all rights over. However, there was still one last thing to take care of. I marched over to the Lord and placed my foot on his back, slamming him down into the ground. I'm not leaving without your head. And I owe it to Jaren to reunite you.
Wait! If you kill me, neighboring counts are sure to intervene before you even realize what's happening. Put down the sword, and I'll spare you.
You'll spare me. You're in no position to be sparing anyone. You're either a fool or a hopeless optimist. You're not a lord anymore. You have no power. You're just a sick worm. And that counts. They won't be an issue. I'll be taking over for you, after all.
Just so. How are you planning to do that? You're a peasant.
Geneva entrusted me with a ring that bears the Barnier family crest. I'll use that to make myself out to be the successor to the royal family.
And what would you do once you faked your nobility? You have no experience, not the faintest idea how to be a lord.
I'm sure I'll govern better than you ever did.
You out of your mind? A peasant like you couldn't govern an empty plot of land.
Not that being a noble makes one any more qualified, as you've more than clearly demonstrated. I'll take your seat, and then I'll take the world.
Ludicrous. Think very hard about this boy. Killing me will be a mistake you can never fix. Put down your sword.
Does death frighten you so much you would deign to beg your life, Lord? Like I said before we began, though, the only way this ends is with one of us dead. I pressed my sword against Barnier's nape and then leaned into it hard. The blade sank into his flesh, the gash spreading like a crack in glass. Screams of agony echoed through the hall. All the blood in his body seemed to be trying to escape through the gaping hole, creating an ever-growing pool of red around us.
Before long, you too will be driven to madness.
Excuse me?
By the time you figured out what it means to be a lord, you won't be the kind-hearted friend of the people anymore. Living this life, having no one you can trust, it'll eat away at you and then you'll
Enough.
be your own executioner.
Enough!
I'll be waiting for you. Down in hell.
Here, every god and every rebel. I have here the Lord's head taken by my own hands. You have no reason to fight any longer. Put down your arms, all of you, and cease this meaningless battle. Our revolution has come to pass.
Oh my god.
In less than a day's time, the Lord's manor had fallen. And by the time it was all over, it felt almost underwhelming how completely and utterly we had conquered them. Men cheered and shouted in celebration. Others borrowed suits of armor and pretended to be knights. A fire of a different color filled the manor's walls. They believed that, with the Lord's death, everything would suddenly be better for everyone. Nobody would have to suffer anymore. They would all be happy and live perfectly fulfilling lives. They had no logical reason to believe as such, yet no one seemed to doubt it in the slightest. Everyone seemed to have forgotten that enacting change required work, and there was still much of that to be done. The entire rest of the day, the men partied and celebrated, paying no heed to the corpses strewn about the property. Even the injured joined in. Nothing could stand in the way of their merrymaking. They raised goblets to great accomplishments. I smiled along, though their fiery passion could not penetrate the cold bubble that had formed around me. The only real fervor I had felt all that day was while I crossed swords with Barnier. Now, my head was surprisingly clear. Perhaps clear wasn't quite right. It was stagnant. I felt as though I was suspended in a dark sludge. Barnier's dying words hovered around me. By the time I figured out what it meant to be a lord, I wouldn't be the kind-hearted friend of the people anymore, he had said. I would have no one to trust. It would eat away at me, drive me mad, and then I would be my own executioner. Again and again, I tried to tell myself that I wasn't like him. I wouldn't end up like him. But his voice, his curse, refused to leave me. Images of his decapitated head flashed through my mind. I couldn't shake the feeling that one day, that would eventually be my head. Well, there you are, kid. Been wondering where you ran off to. Oh, Gratian. How goes it? That you ain't the face of a man who just pulled off a goddamn revolution. Your wound hurtin'? I've got something that can make the pain go away if you want some. And there we go, here she is. Take one of these leaves and grind it up at the back of your mouth. You should start tingling right at the back of your head in no time, then all the pain's gone like it were never there. It's got some pretty great shit. If you don't mind getting a little loopy for a bit anyway. After all that, it ain't like you're gonna need to think straight for a while, so what do you say? Take a few. I think I'll pass. It does hurt, but I can handle it. Then why the long face? You're a hero now. People are gonna be looking up to you. That ain't a great look. What's with the big rock? I don't remember seeing this here before. Please don't touch it. It's Jaren's gravestone. So that's what got you down in the dumps, huh? I mean, I get it. I sure as hell didn't see that one coming either. Talk about a shocker. Sweet little thing like her in bed with a lord. Women can be fucking scary creatures at times. I don't even want to think about what kind of shit she was scheming while she got all chummy with us. And there was no mask, no facade, no scheming. She was always just being herself. You out of your mind, kid? She played us for months, not the tiniest hint. If that ain't a facade, I don't know what is. She never believed herself to be lying to us. Assuming Jaren genuinely didn't grasp the concept of sadness or fear, She was incapable of experiencing negative emotions. And it does kind of add up. She loved the Lord, while also enjoying her time with us. To her, they weren't mutually exclusive. To her, feeling both was not wrong. Well, looks like you're a lot better at arithmetic than me, because that don't come close to adding up in my head. Maybe you just don't want to accept that it was all a big fat lie. Perhaps. I'm not Jaren. I don't know what she had with the Lord. All I can do is speculate. Perhaps I do merely want to believe that she was part of the family. Ration. But I ask you to keep this from Maria and the other girls. You sure? Regardless of what Jaren's actual feelings were, I don't see any reason to sully their memory of her. Fair enough, I guess. Not like the dead can make their own case. It's the least we can do for the ones that they left behind. Not taint their memory. Unless someone knows how to bring them back, that is. Indeed. Sure everything's good, kid? What are you so concerned about? I mean, this is yours now. When we leave, you'll be staying here. Ration, please stay with us. Help this boy. This is like a tough thing that's gonna happen now. I just want to make sure you're really up for it. If you want, I could take your place. Pardon? You think being in charge's too much to handle? I'll gladly take it off your shoulders. Let him do it! Let him do it! Well, we both know I'm more of a fighter than you. That's not gonna help. I could take Barney out without him getting so much as a scratch on me. What do you say? I'll do it. Don't be stupid. The whole city would be savages by year's end if you were in charge. Hey, just offering you a way out, kid. It's my burden to bear. I have no intention of passing it off. I'll have myself back in order by tomorrow. Well, if you say so. Don't forget, you're in this for the long haul. Don't worry, I can handle it. So, do you have any specific plans moving forward? The woman you were conspiring with, Ginevra, was it? They offed her, didn't they? She was hardly the only noble hoping to see Barnier overthrown. I'll have to start by building up a solid foundation of supporters among the nobility. Huh. Do you really need the Dick Squad on our side, though? Why don't we just cut ourselves off from all that crap and start our own country? Place just for us. No royalty or nobility to rub us blind. Just our city. That would be ideal, but unfortunately, it isn't quite so simple. We can't just overthrow the Lord, take over the city, and build a big wall around the borders without a clear, legitimate transfer of power. The neighboring counts will undoubtedly intervene. So we fight back! What's the problem? A little band of peasants was only able to take down the Lord because we have the element of surprise. What happens when a trained, organized army marches on our borders? You don't need me to answer that for you. The wolf's kind of a massive bitch, huh? It's a hell of a lot better than having old Barnier in power, I guess. You'll change things for the better, though, won't you? You have my word. Great. So, Jacopo. I know we'll be parting ways here soon and all, but I want you to know I'll never forget this day. We crashed the gates of hell together and made the devil our bitch. Don't matter how far apart we are, nothing will change what we've been through. Let's make the city into the best goddamn city around. You from the top and me from the bottom. Yeah, let's. It's a great comfort to know I have you down there. I'm sure nothing bad will happen. I have a good deal of trust in you. I'm sure I will always have someone to trust in the future as well. And I will not believe everyone is against me. It won't disappoint you, kid. Don't you ever hesitate to give me a shout if you need something. When we first met, I kinda wanted to throw you off a cliff. You still rub me the wrong way sometimes. But I also consider you one hell of a partner. Ooh, ooh. And I mean that. We risked our lives for each other. Brothers in arms. I thank you. I too consider you a good comrade. You and the rest of the gang. Ugh, I was beginning to think you'd never come out and say it. Now remember, kid, don't you let us down with this. You'll be hearing from us, capiche? I know you can do it. I won't let you down. Warship, more like broship. It'll all go fine. I have allies. Friends I can count on. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, oof. With their help, I can change things for the better. Odd cut to like the future. I can believe in myself. I can do this. I have no reason to think otherwise. This fluttering in my stomach. This fluttering in my stomach is nothing to be concerned about. When that fated night came to an end, the vast bright blue sky of morning greeted me. I looked up at the sky, standing in a manner that still reeked of blood. Morgana filled my thoughts. If she were here now, what would she say to me? Congratulations? It was so unlikely I let out a little laugh. She would undoubtedly criticize me for seizing power through such violent means. Her lips would twist into a scowl. She would damn me to hell for the 1000th time. She would tell me that what I had done was so extremely foolish. But perhaps she would also express some concern about my injuries. And that was all in my own imagination, though. She would never be at my side again. We would never look upon the same sky again. I would never hear her sing again. My old life was gone, a relic of the past. It would never be the same again, not without the girl I loved being a part of it. Oh my god. Interlude? What? That's so crazy. Why did I think it was only gonna end when he seized power? What's this? Recollections of an outlaw. You're in the mood for something juicy, you say? Hiya, Bocage. Hate to break it to you, chum, but I ain't made of dough. I'd like a nice slab of meat as much as the next bloke, but I'm barely making do as is. We all are, in case you hadn't noticed. What, you're not hungry? You just want a juicy story to go with your drink? Why didn't you say that to begin with? Give me a sec. I think I got one you'll like. A few months back, me and a bunch of other blokes went on a raid. This puny little village. They didn't do much trade, just living off what they could grow. No one figured we'd make out with much. Grab a little grub, plow some of the girls. That was the best anyone was hoping for. Business as usual. We killed the guys, had some fun with the girls, then killed them too. Nothing too interested, nothing really exciting up to that point. That changed when I busted into this one house. There's a man, a woman, a little girl, maybe 5 years old. No siblings, just a girl. Real small family for a village like that. Da comes at me to protect the girl, then Ma tries to block me way. No surprise there, I killed them both. Couple of unarmed farmers, easy as snapping a baby's neck. That left the kid. Wasn't like she could do nothing, so I didn't have to kill her, but you know how the stupid things get, crying like it's the end of the bloody world. I figured I'll run her through before she starts howling on me, right? But get this. Kid smiled at me and said, "Oh."
Where are you from, mister?
Couldn't believe me ears. Girl, your parents were just killed by me. I'm coming to kill you next. How the hell are you smiling? And how the hell are those the first words out of your tiny little mouth? Freaked me out, truth be told. So much so I lost all interest in killing her. I dug around for anything worth taking and then just went on me way. This damn kid, I tried to leave and guess what? She fucking follows me. Doesn't want revenge or nothing, just smiling like a fool. I'm a patient bloke, but this was beyond the pale. I yelled at the stupid thing, "Why the hell are you following me? Piss off!" She gives me this confused look and says,
I'm bored. Everyone else stopped moving. I have nothing else to do. But you're still moving, mister.
"Me damn head was spinning." She was maybe 5, yeah? I can understand her being a little stupid, but you should have known right from wrong enough to know to be scared of me. You'd have to be out of your mind to come trotting after the bastard who just offed your parents. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what her problem was. She wasn't right in the head. I tried to get her to piss off, but she wasn't hearing it. The other guys started talking. Maybe we should just neck her, yeah? And one guy said with his big smile, "What say we take bets on what it'd take to make the kitty cry?" So we did just that. We started placing bets. Give her a good yell and she'll cry. Knock her around some, that'll do it. I say yank a tooth or two. Rip off her nails, but one by one. Finally. Blow her till she breaks. We went round and did everything we could think of, our absolute worst. Not like we ever pretended to be good people, but it ain't every day you see a bunch of grown men taking turns knocking the hell out of a 5-year-old girl. And hell, that by itself is a good drinking story if I ever heard one. It keeps going. She never cried, no matter what we did. Not once. She would groan and twist her face when we hit her, so she did feel pain. Even that was only for a second. After that, she'd be back to smiling like an idiot. Tell you the truth, she seriously creeped me the fuck out. I wanted to just end it there and forget all about her. The rest of the guys, they took a liking to her. Wanted to bring her back with us. I tried to talk them out of it, but one guy, he says, "What's the big deal? Ain't like we're adopting her. We'll have some fun, and when we get bored, she's gone." Pretty damn hard to argue against that. If I kept fighting it, I'd look like I was trying to be the good guy or something. They're bandits, Bocage. They're not good people. They killed her family right in front of her. And so now we've got this kid in the crew. First month or so, she's with us. Everyone's treating her like their plaything. After a little bit, that starts to change. They start being kinda nice to her. Giving her extra food, letting her join in on conversations, that sort of thing. She still creeped me out, sure, the way she never stopped smiling. But she wasn't ugly or nothing. Could be kinda cute even. Once she starts talking with us more, I realized something. None of us knew this damn kid's name. So I asked her, and get this. She says, "I'm me." Dead fucking serious. Now, like I've been saying, the girls always never made much sense. But this was on another level. So I press her. "No, what's your name?" But she just tilts her head and says the same thing. "I'm me." "So you're saying your name is me?" "I'm me." "They say your name is me," I ask, and she gives me this big fat grin and nods her head. Who the hell names that kid me? Her parents seem like reasonable enough folks. They at least cared enough to try and protect her from me. They just run out of ideas trying to come up with a name for her or what? As I'm thinking to myself, I see there's something sewn into the bottom of her shirt. Looked like writing, but I can't read for shite, so I call over the only educated guy in the crew and have him look at it. Turns out it was a name. Jaren. "Your name ain't me, it's Jaren," I say. And she lights up like a fucking village that we just got through with.
Really? My name's Jaren? I never knew.
I let out the biggest sigh of my life and say to her, "You're the dumbest broad I ever known." About a month after we picked the girl up, we had a bit of trouble. There's this chubby bloke by the name of Marcus. He starts getting this thing for her, yeah? I ain't one to get on a guy for what he gets his rocks off, but a 5-year-old girl? That just ain't right. Marcus was kind of slow in the head, always at the a back and mostly useless when we went out on jobs. Only reason we kept him round was because he made a good pack mule. He was annoying as all hell besides. Always saluting and saying aye aye like he thought we were a bunch of pirates or something. And he called everyone boss because apparently that was the only form of respect he knew. Day after day, aye aye boss, oh. I'm on it, boss. Let me massage your back, boss, was enough to drive a man mad. Because he was the first one to talk to her, Jaren started imitating him. So now he got two buffoons running around talking like that. Obnoxious as it was, though, end of the day, that's all it was. That changed when Marcus started getting real fond of the girl. Every little thing we did, he'd go around telling us and to be real nicer to her, yeah? As far as we saw it, compared to when we first took her in, we were treating her pretty damn well. Of course, that's all relative. A proper slave probably still got less hell from their master than we gave that girl. Remember, we only brought her along so we could have fun. We never intended to make her part of the crew. Marcus wasn't having any of it. Son of a bitch actually snapped at us. You'll pay if you don't stop that right now, boss. Idiot wanted a fight, so we gave him a fight. A whole lot of us beat the ever-loving hell out of him, stomped his face in so bad you couldn't even recognize the poor bastard anymore. That wasn't enough for him. His face a big bloody mess, Marcus said. I wouldn't let you lay another finger on Jaren, boss. Tell you the truth, I didn't think he had the sack. Then Jaren comes trotting in, seems she heard the ruckus and wanted to see what was up. Marcus's eyes went wide and he yelled, Stay back! The girl, she just stood there, same stupid little smile on her face. Seeing her come in, one of the other guys smirks, plops his ass down on Marcus's back and holds a knife against his neck and says, Hey Jaren, you like Marcus? With a big grin she answers, Aye, boss. See the swollen, bruised up mess his face was, you could just barely make out Marcus smiling. Next, the guy on his back says, Would it make you sad if we roughed him up a bit more?
What do you mean rough him up?
Cut up his fingers, scoop out his eyes, you know, have a little fun.
That is fun. Why would that make me sad?
You hear that? I ain't making this up. Girl's still standing there smiling and Marcus, he goes pale as a ghost. And he did it. He cut off his fingers. Jaren's still smiling. He gouged out his eyes. Still smiling. And finally, he slit Marcus's throat. Even as the blood sprayed right into her face, she never once stopped smiling. Just before he kicked off, Marcus looked like he was thrown into the deepest, darkest pit of despair. I've seen the hope drain from God knows how many men's eyes, but that was on a whole nother level. As you can imagine, I wasn't the only one Jaren creeped out anymore. Everyone felt the same way. She was so messed up we all thought we might start turning into her if we kept her around any longer. Hope, despair. Next city we land in, we sell Jaren off. We all lived happily ever after, minus one twisted little girl. What do you think? Juicy enough for you? You feel sick? Sorry about that, chum. I thought you had a stronger stomach. I do wonder what Jaren's up to these days. He's still smiling like an idiot, or... Recollections of a vassal's wife.
Good day to you, sir. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Yes, that's correct. This is where our slaves were when they were stolen, as I described when I reported it. What? The number of stolen slaves I gave you doesn't match the number you heard from other sources. Ah. No, I had no intention of deceiving you. I simply assumed it wouldn't be a problem because I wasn't claiming we lost more than we did. Yes, I understand. I beg your pardon. I should have reported the number correctly. I will do so in the future, so please, if you would look the other way just this once. Why did I report fewer slaves were stolen? I imagine you would find that curious, yes? Why would anyone want less than their lost manpower returned to them, indeed? It's quite simple. I did not think it would be any great loss if she were not to come back. Oh no, she was a fine worker.
He didn't cause any trouble either. You want to know about the girl? I doubt it'll be of any help to your investigation, but I don't mind telling you. I warn you, it's not a terribly pleasant story, though. Very well, as you wish, sir. We purchased her when she was about 5 years old, so she's been with us for quite some time. 8, maybe 9 years now. When we bought her, she was still too young to put to work. She was in good health, though, always had the sweetest smile on her face, so I had little doubt that she would do as she was told. Slaves tend to be so gloomy and depressing, you know. Not that I don't understand, but unlike many, we try not to mistreat our slaves. As long as they do their work, they have nothing to worry about. The best slaves, I think, are the ones who aren't so dreary as to be infectious and make us feel guilty. The girl's name was Jaren, and while she talked rather funny, she was as bright and cheerful as I'd hoped. And she was always smiling from ear to ear. For a while, it felt like we had a brand new member of our family. So I was so taken with her, I almost considered adopting her instead of keeping her as a slave. How did I go from wanting to take her in to not caring if she didn't come back? It's rather difficult to explain, to tell you the truth. Yes, that's right, she never caused any trouble. She never stole anything, she never refused to work. She never cried and she never got upset. No matter what happened, she always did her work with a smile on her face. That sounds like the ideal slave. Yes, you would think so. I have no complaints regarding her work. Neither did my husband, nor our servants. I imagine I'm the only one who would be happy to never see her again. I started thinking the girl peculiar about 2 years after we purchased her. Right around that time, one of the other slaves attempted to run away. Yes, that's right. As I said, we never once mistreated our slaves. Other slave owners could learn a thing or two from us, I say. We tell all our slaves that when we buy them that they will be set free as soon as they've worked enough to pay back what we paid for them. So he had only 10 years, and then he would have been free. But he chose to spit in the face of our generosity and... Oh, my apologies, I've gotten off track, haven't I? The slave who ran was captured soon after, but trying to flee is one of the greatest transgressions a slave can commit against his master. As such, it was, I'm sure you understand, necessary to punish him. I assure you we never mistreat. Oh yes, I'm sorry, I'll continue. So as I said, he had to be punished. My husband took a length of rope and used it as a whip, I think it's called. He had all the slaves watch as he lashed the one that had tried to run. It was for their own sake. The other slaves needed to see what would happen if they attempted to flee. The lashing continued for a full day. Hiya, Toast. You're at a great moment. Hey. All the slaves present reacted differently. Some averted their eyes, some cried, and some looked on trembling. But it was clear they were afraid, which meant the punishment had served its purpose. For everyone except Jaren, that is. Yes, that's correct. She simply smiled. At first, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. Every time I looked over at her, I saw the same thing. As the slave being lashed screamed out in pain, Jaren didn't even flinch. She just stood there smiling. Just looking at her gave me the chills. My husband thought it was curious as well, but he wasn't nearly as put off as me. She was 7 at the time and a hard worker, and he said there was no issue as long as she didn't cause any trouble. That completely misses the point, you know. She gave me the creeps. I wasn't comfortable with her around. But of course, my husband has the final say. I couldn't defy him. So I did my best to forget that day. I couldn't get the girl out of my mind, though, no matter how hard I tried. My gaze was drawn to Jaren. I noticed quite a bit as I observed her more carefully. Say one of the slaves hurts himself while working. You might expect another slave to ask if he's all right, to help patch up the wound, and volunteer to take on his responsibilities for the day, to show concern and compassion. But Jaren, she would just smile and go on her way, not a word. She was hardly perfect either. Is anyone, though? She would make mistakes occasionally. Everyone slips up and they try not to make a huge fuss about it because we sincerely value our slaves and the work they... My apologies. In any case, we can't simply brush such mistakes off, so we make sure to admonish them whenever something happens, to ensure things run smoothly.
But even as I scold her, Jaren's still smiling. As I'm sure you imagine, it's hard not to feel as though you're being disrespected. So once I lost my temper and smacked her. It was only the once, though, I swear. I'm not a violent woman. I hate raising my hand to anyone. I was sure that, if nothing else, would make her cry. But still, she smiled, with half her face red and swollen. I was so perplexed, I came straight out and asked her, "Why do you not cry? I just hit you. How can you keep smiling?" And she said, "Why would I cry? I'm not sad about anything." Pressing the issue further, I discovered she had evidently never felt bad for anyone in her life, including herself. Can you imagine? How terrible is that? It's not right. I decided I needed to teach her how she was supposed to act. I taught her that when she saw someone get hurt, she needed to show sympathy. That when she was being reprimanded, she needed to show remorse and a desire to improve. Jaren listened carefully to every word I said, and before long, she started putting my teachings into practice. At first, I was relieved. Jaren was finally a regular girl. She showed concern, compassion, regret. But it was all an act. She acted sad when someone got hurt, and then she turned around and was smiling again. It never lasted more than a few moments. Emotions were but a flash. There, then gone before you realized. It wasn't normal. Wasn't human. She didn't genuinely feel sympathy. Beyond the surface, she was no different than the girl who smiled as a fellow slave was being whipped before her eyes. Jaren had learned nothing. Unable to bear it anymore, I went to my husband again. I told him she wasn't normal. There was something wrong with her. I implored him to do something, but my pleas fell on deaf ears. She was a good worker, he said. We wouldn't ask for a better slave, he said. Oh, but he couldn't have been any more wrong. He wasn't the one who had to look after her. He had no idea what she was like, how unsettling it was merely being in her presence, how deeply upsetting it was. My apologies. I'm fine now. As you can imagine, I'm not particularly fond of Jaren. So it was a weight off my shoulders when I heard she was one of the stolen slaves. Why are you giving me that look? You think I'm the one who has a problem? You think there's nothing wrong with her, just like my husband? One look at her smile and you'd know I'm telling the truth, that she's not simply a little eccentric, that there's more to it than that. I can't take it anymore. Is there no one who will understand me? Recollections of a prostitute. Kick back for a bit, why don't you? I'm in the mood to talk. Nah, I'm not gonna charge extra. I don't bill by the hour. Oh, you never thought of me as a talkative girl? I guess that goes to show how much I've taken to you. No, I'm not trying to butter you up, I swear. I've been thinking a lot these days about the place I last worked at. It's really been getting me down. I can't think of anyone I want with me at times like this more than you. Did something happen there? Well, I've been waiting for that question. It's a bit of a long story, I hope you don't mind. There's a city about 10 days by carriage from here. You know the one, right at Lord Barnier's doorstep. The place I used to work at was there, and every so often the Lord would summon a few of the prettiest girls to come to his manor. I'm hardly the best-looking girl around, even out here. I was never one of the chosen. But honestly, I'm lucky for it. It's not the kind of thing you want to go mentioning in public, but the Lord has some, unsavory hobbies. Every girl who ever came back said, there's no amount of money you can pay me to do that again. Word is, the Lord has a taste for torturing and killing his slaves. Not just if you screw up either. If he's in the mood and he so much as sees you, you could be dead. He's got a dungeon under his manor too, they say, and you can hear wailing coming from down there at all times of the day. The Lord enjoys all different kinds of torture. Flaying, dismemberment, boiling, the water cure. What?
Sure, he uses others, but I've only heard bits and pieces secondhand. He only ever killed the slaves, though. The girls all came back in one piece. On the outside, at least. Being forced to watch people get brutally murdered did a real number on most of them. Some were so broken by the experience they couldn't work anymore. To the Lord, apparently, he hosts banquets at his manor every so often. But here's the kicker. He only invites nobles that are into the same sort of thing. He's not the only one. We're being governed by God knows how many twisted freaks. I don't even want to think about it. Anyway, something like 2 years ago, I think it was. A couple of girls came back looking a good 20 years older. They told us about one of these banquets. Most of the time, it's just him and his noble friends torturing slaves, but this one was different. There was a girl, maybe 10 years old, chained up naked on this makeshift altar. Here's where it gets crazy. The girl who they called a saint was covered in scars head to toe. They cut her up and filled their cups with her fresh blood. She didn't cry. She didn't even flinch. She just sat there quietly. When she did speak, it was to condemn them as blasphemers and sinners. Can you imagine? Chained up like that, and she's scolding her captors, telling them God will punish them for their actions. I wouldn't have the guts. Maybe she was raised at a church or something. I'm guessing that's got something to do with why they call her a saint. Oh yeah, the slave revolt was right around that time too. You hear about that? Just rumors? Well, they're not just rumors, it really happened. Because of the revolt, the girls who had been there made it out in mostly decent shape. And for a while afterwards, the law didn't send for anyone. I'm guessing he was too preoccupied patching up the holes in his manor and finances to spend much time fooling around. Sort of changing topics for a sec, but about that same time, this dark-skinned girl, the kind you don't see too often around these parts, started working here. Name was Jaren. She was pretty, always had the widest smile on her face, real friendly. Seemed like the kind of girl who'd draw in a lot of business. I was right. Within a couple of weeks, she'd already picked up a few regulars. Our manager was going on about how happy he was with his purchase. About a month in, though, we started getting complaints from one of her customers. He said she was being condescending with him. I brought it up with Jaren, but she said she had no idea what he was talking about. I assumed the customer was just imagining it, or full of it. You get guys like that all the time in this business. No, don't worry, you're not one of them. But the complaints kept coming in, which made me think maybe there was something going on. I decided to talk things out with the guys making the complaints this time, get a better picture of what the problem was. Most of them were pretty useless and vague, but the common issue seemed to be that her behavior didn't make sense. One guy came in after bungling a huge trade deal, hoping to find some comfort. He spilled his guts to Jaren. Instead of trying to console him, she laughed. You can see why he wouldn't be thrilled about that. When I asked Jaren about it, she gave me a confused look and said, "I thought he was telling a funny joke." There was no malice, nothing. She genuinely didn't understand how the customer wanted her to act. Can't run a business like this without a solid customer base, so making sure everyone leaves happy is crucial to operations. Which is probably not something I should be talking about with a customer, but, well, you're special, so cut me some slack, okay? Anywho, something had to be done about Jaren. We couldn't risk more dissatisfied customers. I figured the best thing to do was give her some training. Here's how you should react if a client brings up such and such, and here's what you should say if they're looking depressed or upset or whatever. How and when to be reactive and how and when to be proactive. Jaren was a quick study. It wasn't long before she was putting my lessons to work. I would have been happy with just reducing the number of complaints to a more normal level, but Jaren improved so dramatically we heard nothing but praise from then on. Say a patron was looking a little blue, she'd give them a big pouty face and say, "What's the matter? You can tell me anything." "Oh no, it's terrible. I feel awful for you." "Is there anything I can do to help? Anything at all?" Just this constant stream of comfort, almost to the point of being excessive. She had gone from bright and energetic to sweet and sympathetic as well.
On the surface, anyway. Every condolence she offered was completely fake. She was acting, and I knew because I was the one who had taught her how. There was nothing wrong with that, though. We're not in the business of genuine human interaction, after all. Thinking back on it now, though, I probably should have taught her what the real thing felt like, rather than just how to fake it. About a year later, the Lord started sending for girls again. We all knew he was a madman. That was common knowledge. But he paid well, and everyone always came back alive, so we reluctantly complied. But we were wrong. I'm just thinking about when she first met Morgana. And she was like, oh my god, what happened to you? Your face, did they like punish you? Blah, blah, blah. And then she starts making up these whole stories. I'm like, holy shit. Ah, yeesh. But we were wrong. He did kill the girls just this time. One came back alive, but she was missing an eye and half an arm. She was in no condition to go back to work. Even just going about her daily life would be difficult. We were aghast. But things only got worse from there. The next time the Lord sent for us, we panicked. For one, no amount of money was worth what waited at the Lord's manor. And two, it was impossible to run a business if your employees kept getting killed. So we attempted to turn him away, but his messenger simply said the Lord will not take no for an answer. We either complied, or were all executed for treason. What little hope we had left crumbled. We were screwed either way. So we fought among ourselves like a pack of wild animals. I am too ugly, you go. I have more regulars, you go. No one likes you anyway. Pure chaos. I was, of course, part of the brawl. And here's where she comes in. Jaren. Everyone's in a big mob clawing each other's faces off, and she just tilts her head and asks, why are you so afraid of the Lord? Seeing that stupid, clueless look on her face, just about everyone in the room burst a vessel. All right, we'll send her, we said, and it was decided. Jaren smiled, not bothered in the slightest, gave us a cheery see you later, and went off to the Lord's manor. To no one's surprise, she never came back. We figured she had been killed. A week or so later, the messenger showed up asking for more girls. By this point, the messenger was furious. He demanded to speak with the Lord in person, saying if something wasn't done, the whole brothel would collapse. Oh, the manager was furious, and he put his life on the line to prevent that. Seeing him so resolute, I felt a newfound respect for him. I also thought he was a complete idiot. I still respected him. After all, there was no way the Lord would be open to negotiation. That much was obvious from everything he'd done. The manager and a few assistants set off for the Lord's manor, and about 2 weeks later he returned. Or his head did. His assistants managed to avoid death, so they were able to tell us what had happened. No one was exactly thrilled to hear more twisted tales about the Lord. But we listened anyway. No one could have imagined what they told us. Jaren was there, with the Lord, alive and well. Not only had she not been killed, he had apparently taken quite a liking to her. The manager was surprised to see her too, but he figured it was a good chance, as good a chance as he would ever get. If Jaren would speak up in his favor, the Lord might actually listen to her. So emboldened, the manager pleaded with the Lord, begging him not to harm the girls, that we wouldn't be able to send anyone else otherwise. And for attempting to oppose him, the Lord ordered the manager to be executed. The manager, however, entreated Jaren for help. If you have a heart, Jaren, please tell the Lord not to take my life. I have people who need me. Without hesitation, Jaren nodded, saying, you think you can maybe let him live? That seems a bit, I don't know, disrespectful for her to speak to a lord like that, but he didn't get upset with her or anything. He really had taken a liking to her, apparently. The Lord nodded and said, I'll offer you a choice then, Jaren. You may have whichever one of the following you prefer. Either I spare this man's life, or you can have my full attention for the rest of the day. The manager and his assistants were all baffled. How was that even a decision? How was a man's life, a man who had employed her for more than a year no less, comparable to a little attention? They were even more baffled by Jaren's reaction. She thought about it for a second, and then blushing, she said, I want your attention. Everyone's jaws dropped. The manager about burst into tears. He begged her to reconsider, to have pity. He asked what he had ever done to wrong her. You never did me wrong, she said. Then why wouldn't you have him spare me? I just want his attention more. You're willing to let me die for that? What's so scary about dying anyway? Oh boy. Not only did she not comprehend sorrow, she seemed to be devoid of anything resembling fear as well, which explained why she had so much trouble sympathizing with people suffering, why she was always smiling no matter how bad things got. Without our manager, the brothel went to hell. His son took over, but he didn't give a damn about any of the girls. All he cared about was if he had enough booze to keep himself perpetually smashed. So, figuring I had a better chance elsewhere, I left everything behind and ran, leaving my future in fate's hands. Fate was kind to me. I managed to make it here. They come to me in my dreams sometimes, though. I still see the faces of the poor girls we sent off to the gallows. Yeesh. What? Where am I again?
Awake again, are you, whore?
Who are you, sir?
It would seem your memories have not fully recovered. Allow me to remind you how you got here then.
No, wait. It's right on the tip of my brain. Let me see. I was at the brothel, and then I was invited to the Lord's place. I got brought to a big city. And then I was taken to the Lord's castle. The Lord called me into his room, and then he... Oh, you strangled me!
Indeed. Your memory has returned without problem.
I'm super duper good at remembering things. Wait! Why did you strangle me?
To test my theory.
Your theory? Of what?
That you're mad.
Mad? About what?
Not that kind of mad. First of all, I never bring just one whore to my quarters. I brought you here because you piqued my personal curiosity.
You mean you're having orgies in here every day? Wowzers, you got some serious stamina.
Not being alone with one person reduces the chances of an assassination attempt.
That makes sense. It's pretty tough being the Lord, huh? What are you so curious about little old me for?
The other day, you and a handful of other whores attended to the torturing of a slave, if you recall. I made you all watch as he died. But you didn't seem affected in the slightest.
Oh crap, I'm so sorry.
Well, what?
I wasn't sad enough, was I? A nice farm lady and the girl at the brothel taught me how to be sad and how to be angry. If I'm not careful, I forget. I'm sorry for not being sad like I was supposed to.
As I said, you piqued my interest. Had you sobbed and screamed like any other whore, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
What? Me not being sad wasn't bad?
That it wasn't.
Huh. No one's ever said that to me before.
I was thought you unusual, but I couldn't be certain about what you were without getting more personal. Which is why I brought you here, to test that theory. You don't fear death, do you, whore?
It's not just death. I've never felt sad or scared about anything. Ever. I didn't even know sad or scared were things people felt at all until someone told me. But now I know all about them and how you're supposed to act when you feel them. I don't know what they actually are.
Truly fascinating. Tell me more.
Huh? What do you want to know?
Let's see. Tell me your whole life story. Tell me everything, as far back as you remember.
Wow! No one's ever been this interested in me. Teehee, this is super nice. Alrighty then, I'll tell you everything. Don't hesitate to conk out if you get bored. And ta-da, here I am. What'd you think? As boring as I thought it'd be?
Hardly. That was easily the most engrossing childhood story I've ever heard.
Wow!
Smiling as your parents are killed before your eyes. I'm hardly one to talk, but you're one thoroughly heartless girl.
I still wish I could do that over. I really loved my mom and dad, and the nice farm lady told me you're supposed to be sad when people you love die.
That's why you want to do over.
What?
You're incapable of experiencing sorrow, no? Feigning it for the occasion won't change the fact that you don't actually feel sad about losing them.
I guess you're right. I can pretend, but I still don't know what it feels like. I don't understand why people are so afraid of death to begin with. I mean, pain isn't fun. I get that much. But if you don't let it bother you, it's not that big a deal. Plus, once you die, you get to go to heaven. I don't get what there is to be so afraid of.
Not everyone goes to heaven.
Us, right. But still, I'm sure there are plenty of fun things to do in hell.
Fascinating. You truly are twisted to your very soul.
Oh, but I do sometimes feel disappointed.
Do tell.
Like, I sometimes wish I could eat my mom's supper again. I feel left out when everyone's talking about how weird I am. Maybe sad is just like an even stronger version of that.
I get the impression your entire experience of negative emotion is fundamentally distorted. I don't know if you can say that. Jaren. Would you like to remain with me?
What?
Normally, I send horses back to where they came from when I'm done with them. But I'm offering you the chance to stay here with me.
Are you asking for my hand in marriage? What do I do? What do I do? I went from whore to the Lord's wife in 3 seconds flat.
Fool. I would never even take a mere prostitute as a concubine.
Drat.
I am, however, fond of you, so I'm offering you a place in my house.
So you're saying you actually want me around? Even knowing what kind of person I really am?
You could say that, yes.
Wow, no one's ever actually wanted me before.
As promised, Jaren, you have my full attention for the rest of the day.
Wait.
Honestly, it shouldn't surprise me anymore how twisted you are. Twisted so far, in fact, you're the most sincere and honest person in the land. To a fault. You hardly even gave that man's life a second thought. The look on his face as he died was magnificent. You are a cruel girl.
I didn't do anything wrong, no matter what you say. I didn't steal anything. I didn't kill anyone. I try to stay out of everyone's way as much as possible.
So you actually have some concept of right and wrong, which means you understand that I am a wicked man.
I was taught the difference, yeah.
Fascinating. However, simply knowing the difference is of no use. If you don't feel the repulsion it's supposed to elicit. Knowing full well that I was acting maliciously, still you selfishly chose my affection, sentencing the man to death.
That's not what I guess you're right. I guess I did let him die for my own selfish desires. Looks like I still got a lot to learn.
No, you stay exactly the way you are. As I've said before, you don't need to put up a facade around me. Don't act sad if you're not sad. Don't act angry if you're not angry. Don't feign pity for someone you don't care about. Be you.
But everyone says
Your natural self neither disgusts nor disturbs me. In fact, I greatly prefer you that way. No matter how many slaves I kill and torture for my own entertainment, you never leave my side. You happily accept me no matter what I do. I would rather not lose that. Don't stand so far away. Sit down beside me.
I've
allowed you to stay here for a month now, and in that time, you've been a constant source of entertainment. You've expressed no desire to leave either, despite being well aware what kind of man I am.
The same goes for you, Barnier. You want me to stay even though I'm such a weirdo.
The difference between you and I, though, is that I kill and you do not.
You know, I've been wondering.
What?
Why do you like killing so much?
It would seem your perception of me is slightly inaccurate. I do not It is not the act of killing I enjoy, but the look of dread and despair in a man's face as his life is ripped away.
There's a difference?
In your mind, perhaps not.
I'd like to kind of know what it's like in your mind then. I told you my story, maybe you could tell me more about you, Barnier. Not that I blame you if you don't want to tell a prostitute like me.
You're not a prostitute anymore.
I'm not? Then, what am I?
You're my property.
Ah, sounds super nice.
So to answer your question, I was not always the man I am today. I had several brothers, so I was the eldest. As such, I was first in line of succession. There should have been no question as to who was the rightful heir to my house. But my father, the previous lord, wanted my brothers to succeed him instead, without any reason to pass over me. Though, he would have faced significant opposition and put the family's reputation and legitimacy at risk. I was neither infirm nor mentally challenged, but rather extremely talented, which gave my father no leverage to deny me the throne. The one thing I lacked was the coffetry. Seeing people try to butter each other up and made me physically sick. It seemed to me the last kind of behavior royalty should be engaging in. I believe that merely possessing leadership ability should be sufficient for ruling effectively. But in this world, only those who can win others' favors make it anywhere. Only those who can make themselves look good and their peers like fools. Those who can claim others' achievements as their own, who can appear to have more power than they actually do. My father and brothers forsook me, making an attempt on my life. Because they could not legitimately remove me as the rightful heir, they could only kill me if they wanted their way. I was fortunate enough to survive the attempt, but I still carry the scar today.
You mean the bigot on your back?
That's right. You're surprisingly observant. I was in danger of not just losing the lordship, but my life. I was left with 3 choices: to let them kill me, to flee and live in poverty, or to kill them first. I was born to rule, though, so in reality, I only ever had one choice. I murdered my father and all my brothers, leaving me as the only one in the line of succession. But becoming the Lord did not immediately win me everyone's favor. Distant relatives crawled out of the woodwork to claim my throne as rightfully theirs. The people demanded I satisfy their every whim and fancy. Even my attendants tried to push their own agendas. The whole affair quickly grew tiring. Dozens were clamoring for a say in matters I could easily handle myself. So I silenced them. Before long, the prodding voices had become corpses. It was somewhat around that time that I found myself intrigued by fear. Fear is a wonderful thing, an incredibly effective silencer that spreads like a plague. Sufficient application would preemptively stop everyone from interfering. Fear strips man of all his will. Then it became apparent to me that one did not have to be a great leader to rule effectively. All the time I'd spent in my younger days working to improve myself felt like an incredible waste. Fear became the centerpiece of my rule. I continued to employ it. I began to derive great pleasure from the despair it instilled in others. Men trembled at the sight of me. They bowed their head and abandoned their dignity. They begged me to spare their lives. What an exquisite sight it was, every single time. Enrapturing. You were born into your madness, Jaren, but I molded into mine.
Huh, that's neat. But Lord Barnier, wouldn't that make me a bad match for you? I'm not scared of you at all.
Man is a curious beast, you see. Once everyone feared me, I came to seek those who did not.
You sure are hard to please.
You make it sound like I'm merely a picky child. I suppose there's little difference in your eyes. There were a number of others among nobles who had, like me, strayed from the path. Hardly a surprise, given what life as a noble is like. I started throwing banquets inviting those who would be interested. These parties were to serve two purposes, the first obviously being for my own amusement. The second, to find those with similar tastes and bring them into my circles. I found little success with the latter, however, despite my rather zealous attempts at recruitment, so I no longer waste the effort.
You weren't able to make any friends then?
No, I was not. The other nobles had no interest in getting their own hands dirty. They only wanted to watch, getting their titillation from a safe distance. Not a single one shared the same madness as me. Jaren. You're far better than any of them.
What? Thanks?
What are you squirming about? I thought nothing bothered you.
I am capable of getting flustered, thank you.
Hehe. There was something deeply wrong with you.
You're the one that decided to throw that curveball, Lord Barnier.
Enough of the formalities already. You're not a whore anymore. You're allowed to use my name.
Huh? That is your name, though.
You don't know your own lord's full name, do you, Jaren?
What?
Answer the question, girl.
I'm sorry.
Allow me to help. I'll only say this once so don't forget it. My name is Jean-Francois Barnier, firstborn son and rightful heir of the Barnier family.
Got it memorized.
No, don't you dare say that. You're not allowed to say such a thing.
That's a really long name, though. I think I'll call you Franny. That rolls off the tongue nicer.
Yeah.
I assume I can take that cryptid chuckle as an okay.
Only if you wish to be hanged. Call me Francois.
Jaren.
Jaren. Get up, Jaren. Oh, what?
I swear you spent every moment you're not otherwise occupied sleeping.
I love sleeping.
I should get up, you feeble-minded Nimrod.
Ow! You know they hit me, yeesh. There are nicer ways to wake up a girl, you know.
Be grateful I only hit you hard enough to wake you. I swear the church may have to redefine sloth if they ever meet you.
That bed's so comfy, though.
You don't realize the blood of dozens of women has seeped into every fiber.
Comfy is still comfy, though.
That wouldn't bother you, would it?
So what's up, Francois? You need from me for something?
I have a favor to ask of you.
What? A favor? Of me? What is it? I'll do anything.
Without even hearing what it is.
It doesn't matter what it is. You say the word and I'll do it, Francois.
What if I asked you to take your own life right here?
Just give me the knife.
You should honestly be more used to this by now.
Why wouldn't I do anything for you, Francois? I love you. No one's ever cared for me like you before. No one's ever wanted me as much as you. You're happy with me as I am, despite me missing all the most important pieces.
Again, I really shouldn't be so surprised. Fear not, though. I won't be asking you to die today.
How much harder is it gonna be then? I hope you don't want me to kill anyone. It would be my first time. I'm not sure I could pull it off properly.
You're at the bottom of my list of prospective assassins. That you could successfully smother a baby. Although, you could probably cause a great deal of death, I imagine. I would like you to make you into a mole.
You want me to dig holes?
In a sense. There's been a word of unrest building in the city of late. Money and resources gathered below the table. Murmurings of resistance being organized.
A bunch of baddies!
Precisely. I want you to go down to the city and find as many baddies as you can, then report back to me. Can you do that?
I can try.
Excellent. A whorehouse would be the best place for you to start gathering information, I think. All I need you to do is deliver reports. Anything more involved would probably cause that empty head of yours to burst.
I just realized if I go into the city, I won't be able to see you as often, Francois.
Does that displease you?
A whole lot. I bet this is what being sad feels like.
In your twisted mind, perhaps so. How about this? I will have a servant act as a regular client of yours. He'll pretend to be a wealth merchant. At regular intervals, he'll patronize the brothel, requesting your services and bringing you back to his residence. He'll pay well enough that they won't mind if you're gone for a few days, during which time you can come back to the manor and see me. How does that sound?
Wait, I love it.
Next, we need to discuss how you present yourself. Although you're free to be yourself in my presence, you will need to put on a suitable act down in the city.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Now I'm getting butterflies.
You spent years doing precisely that before you came here. I didn't have you counting on me to do
I have you counting on me to do a good job before, Francois.
Allow me to offer you a piece of advice then.
What? I'm all ears.
Really tell others about the misfortunes of your upbringing.
I don't think I had a bad childhood, though.
You may not, but others will. Your parents murdered as you watched, taken captive by the men who did it. Tell people your story. Don't act overly dejected.
Huh? Why not? Won't people think there's something wrong if I'm not sad?
People will think it's more unusual if you get too dramatic because it's so far out of line with your regular disposition. Good acting is subtle, not overdone.
People will feel great pity for you when they hear of your past. And then they will see your exuberance as a sign you fought and found the strength of will to move past your ill fortune. They will be impressed, taken with you. You needn't exaggerate your performance. Just give it a little bit of flavor. As long as you don't tell anyone those emotions are beyond your grasp, no one will have any reason to suspect otherwise.
Huh, neato. I'm feeling a lot better about this now.
I expect you won't disappoint me.
Aye, boss. So, hey, Francois.
What is it?
What would you do if, hypothetically speaking, if, when I go down into the city, I learn what sadness and fear feel like?
I would kill you, because I would no longer have an interest in you.
Awesome! I'm just glad you didn't say you'd kick me out. Every girl dreams of being killed by the man she loves.
What? Where the shit did you get that from?
No. No, they do not. You want me to kill you?
If it comes down to it, I guess.
She's so messed up. She's so messed up.
Though really, I'd rather be with you forever.
Into the room, Jared, now!
Ow, you're gonna yank my arm off!
You wouldn't have to if you would move.
Blah!
Listen very carefully. You stay in this room until everything is blown over. Do not open the door for anyone.
But is this what I think it is?
You are only to leave the room if I tell you it's safe. All the manor goes completely silent. Someone breaks down the door. Tell them you're being held captive by the Lord. My predilections are well known among the people. No one will suspect you're lying. I must go now. Farewell, Jaren. I rather enjoyed our time together.
Wait, don't go! I've got an idea, Francois. We could escape through that window there. Tie the sheets into a rope and climb down.
That y'all won't get this because I've just been watching a show lately and that point has been like brought up so many times. Like shit.
Maybe we can go somewhere far away where no one will find us.
You do not have the liberty.
What? Why not?
Because I am the lord of this land. I was born to be the lord. I murdered my own family to keep my claim to this title. I will not abandon it until my final breath. I was a fool and a tyrant, neither a great leader nor a great man. Still, I bear the responsibility of my role. Fleeing is not an option.
I never thought you were a tyrant.
The rest of my lordship would disagree with you. I used fear as a weapon of control, murdering slaves for fun, prioritizing my own desires over the needs and lives of my people. You have a better word for what I am. Whereas you grasp the difference between good and evil, but lack the requisite emotions to give those concepts meaning. I knowingly chose to stray from the path of righteousness.
Didn't you say you could run things just fine with fear? That it was very effective?
Indeed, you can run things exceedingly well with fear, though I never said you could do so forever. I first saw signs the people were turning against me 3 years ago. While I did what I could to crush the seeds of revolt before they grew, it would seem I missed a few.
If you knew this was coming, couldn't you have stopped it?
I've traveled so far down the wicked path it would be nigh impossible for me to find my way back into the light. Which means all I could do was continue on and see what awaited me at the end. I could never play the benevolent ruler, though. Those people are inscrutable to me. They all appear to be either ravenous beasts or feeble-minded swine. Were I able to have any love for my own people, perhaps things could have turned out differently.
I can't stay in here and wait, Francois. I want to be with...
You will do as I say, girl. What's getting into you, Jaren? Death is supposed to be meaningless to you. You do not experience sorrow over loss.
But I...
Did I not come back? Go in smiling. Do not think I will simply let them walk in and kill me. I have dozens of skilled guards. I can handle a sword myself as well. Far better than a mere peasant. They're getting closer. Remember, you're not to leave this room, understood? You're my property. Property does not defy the will of its master.
And what if I do come out?
Jaren, you will not be of any help to me out there. Should you obstruct me in any way, I will not hesitate to kill you. You do not have a choice. Is that clear?
Francois!
What? Time is running short.
I love you.
I will always place myself, the Lord Jean-Francois Barnier, above anything else in the world. And you second.
Wait. Second? That's kind of super crazy wow, isn't it? Wow. I am shaking a bit here. I never felt this way before. Is this what being scared feels like? Huh. This is a lot worse than I imagined. It hurts real bad. Like someone's sitting on my chest. I can hardly even breathe right. But it's kind of really wonderful. No, I can't do this. I can't be away from him.
Damn. Oh. Oh, what a great place to end. And now we get to watch Jacopo's slow descent into... Am I? This is like Act 2. We probably have to go now through Jacopo's whole ruling, and then Morgana's whole thing. Who knows if they're even gonna mention what happened after that, like... him locking her up, and then the... Mel, and Yukimasa and all of that. I don't know how in-depth it goes. I'd have to ask Toast, if Toast is still around, but I don't know. We've seen his character once, but he was like, he helped Barnier. I was kind of surprised they gave him like a portrait, because it was like, he's only shown up like once. Is he important? Question mark? But yeah, I wanted to stop early because I have to do some stuff and I need to wake up early tomorrow.
was like, okay, I guess I'll just like take this game in shorter bursts because it's not as long as the other one. Man. My voice is dying! Doing Barney's voice was so annoying! Can I just say that? His voice and what he was saying, like, oof. Oof. It's hard on me! Yeah, I thought the birthday was gonna be the hard bit, but nope. Everything that came after. God, I was like, I know what happens in Requiem for Innocence. It's not gonna hit me that bad. I know what happens. It was worse when I read it the first time. But no, because of the new characters, they could pull another one on me. Didn't. I was just like, oh, they're gonna kill her in a sad way. They're gonna kill Gratian in a sad way. It's gonna be sad. But it's like, I know what's gonna happen, and then I didn't. And, you know. That's what I get. That's what I get. And now we have Gratian next. And it's gonna be worse because Gratian is like our trusted friend, or he's like Jacopo's trusted friend, but we know from what Jacopo was talking about. Let me just put some music on. This music's sad. I can't. No. We know from what Jacopo was saying that it got to a point where everyone was out for him. He lost the trust of all of like the people that, you know, were good to him. All of the other peasants, pretty much. Can't get worse than losing Jaren. I think it can't get worse than finding out what Jaren was. Like, it just sucks. It just sucks. Everything about her sucks. It's worse because she doesn't even get it. She doesn't even know. She doesn't even understand. She's not even like Bonnie S. She's just like, oof. This music's making me feel better. Yeah. Shove out those emotions. Get them out of here. Gross. She's something. I'm not gonna go too deep into this because the whole idea of like not having control over your feelings and your emotions and all that, it's like an active thing for a lot of people. And it sucks. It really does suck. But, you know, it is what it is, and it's sad. It's sad that, you know, she did all of those things. Well, sociopaths aren't really a thing. But, people with, like, personality disorders are actually a thing. And it's something that they can't control. Feeling-wise, it doesn't mean that, oh, now they have to do bad stuff. Like, now they have to steal things and kill people and torture people to feel it's not like that. It's just, you know, it's not something that I've investigated into, so I can't go giving y'all all of these tips and tricks and all that shit, no. But yeah, it's a difficult thing to tackle, really. They did that with Yukimasa too, where he was like, he generally didn't get that. Well, I guess he understood what he was doing was bad, but he couldn't stop it. Oh, so that's 2 characters so far, yay!
Anyway, I'm gonna say bye now because I want to make some tea because my throat is like fried. My throat is gone. Ooh. I want to play Mega Man. I want to play Mega Man and do some and have a great time. See y'all later. See y'all next time. Wow. Goodness gravy. You're something. Bye-bye.
언제부터는 주위엔 형님이 많네. 우리 집엔 아들이 나 하나뿐인데 한 마리에 두 마리의 동생의 남동생 귀엽지도 않은 것이 자꾸 생기네. 나를 미워하면서도 나는 미소를 띠고 전화 같은 얼굴로 나를 대하네. 오해를 하네. 내 여자친구는 친구도 여자도 둘 다 맞는 것 같은데 내 친구가 맞다는 사람들 모두 다 틀린 것 같아. 네 여자친구는 친구도 여자도 둘 다 맞는 것 같은데 내 친구가 맞다는 사람들 모두 다 틀린 것 같아. 틀린 것 같아. 선배님, 후배님, 내가 그렇게 변했나요? 사장님, 사모님, 나를 착하게 봐줬나요? 친구야